Exciting times. Sorry, just realised I needed to plug my laptop in to charge up. Hang on, you can't even see me either. Oops. There I am in the corner. I shall get myself bigger in a second. Just getting some headphones on. This is a kind of a really silly little test stream. I need to hear myself as well. How do I do that? Just to work out Streamlabs, really. So hello to you. But oh yes, of course, big news in the UK. I think our Prime Minister, the second Prime Minister in as many months, is about to resign in 6 minutes. So I doubt many people will be watching this. Let's have a look. See if I can get this on in the background as well, and then get to hear what I'm saying. Here we go.
In a letter published on the Conservative Home website, she says it is not responsible for the party to allow Liz Truss to remain in power. Not responsible, says Ruth Edwards, the Conservative MP, Rushcliffe, to allow Liz Truss to remain in power. In this letter, she has also urged the Prime Minister to step aside, to go and let someone who is up to the task take on the great privilege and responsibility of our great country and party. The words there of Ruth Edwards, the Conservative MP for Rushcliffe, who is now the 15th MP to publicly call on the Prime Minister to go and you know, leading our great country. Like we heard from Charles, the words there of Ruth Edwards last night, the Conservative just heard from for Rushcliffe, who is now the 15th MP to publicly call on the Prime Minister to go and you know, those sorts of words, like we heard from Charles Walker.
You too can now hear
night, like we've just heard
the story
from Ruth Edwards.
as it
really difficult to
try and work out
it's
why
not
I can't hear anything.
A leader to stay in power, to step aside,
So
go and let
stand by a
someone who is
moment.
up to the
Let's see what I
task
can do.
take on
Just once
the
again,
privilege
this is
and
really just a
responsibility
test stream for
of
StreamYard.
leading
I'm going to
party. Difficult
rewire
words
and
for
sort
anyone
this
to hear, but
modular out, and I
clearly
thought
Conservative
maybe
MPs, a growing number
if you
of
weren't
them,
working
feel
today, or
those
if you
words
wanted
need
to
to be
pass the
spoken.
time while you were working, you could watch me with this amazing screwdriver. Because I've had a new idea about this modular. I've sold some kit, I'm selling some kit, and I'm replacing it with some new kit. So I want to see if it works. Anyway, let me just fix this audio.
Of when Liz Truss would go, not if, because there's just too much. There's too much of a sort of sense inside the Conservative Party that whatever hand she's been dealt, she's just not going to win them an election, that she's a vote loser. But I think it's worth reflecting very, very briefly on the sort of trauma this is for the Conservative Party. I mean, you will remember, people watching us will remember, that over the summer there were all these kind of rallies, there were all these hustings where I remember going to some of them where Liz Truss was cheered by party activists for her programme of a smaller state, lower taxes. I mean, the whole lot is now totally and utterly in tatters.
And you know, you talk about the trauma for the party.
Is that any good? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hopefully that's not muted anymore. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. Still muted. Thumbs up. Hear me? Ah, yeah, sorry, we've got a big delay on the stream going on. Hee. All right, sorry about that. What I was going to say was, let's just drop this off. Very exciting in the UK. We are going to have an old Prime Minister. It's all kicking off. I'm sure you're fully aware of what's going on. But yeah, we're about to probably get Liz Truss resigning, so we're going to have a third Prime Minister in 3 months. I've just got that in the background just to find out what's going on. But then I thought, well, I'm just testing out Streamlabs, which is kind of cool. I've never used Streamlabs in a YouTube sense. I just wondered, it's got a couple of bots for the chat and all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to redo this Modular, which I put a lot of thought into, but it's not doing it for me. I can't mix stuff properly. I still think in terms of oscillators, filters, mixing desk, really. So I'm selling some of this stuff. I've sold a bunch of other stuff. I've bought a crazy mixing system from Frap, which I think is going to solve my problems because it's got effect sends on it, which are going to go to some pedals. And I think what I can then do is use this Hermod still as a sequencer to play this stuff through the filters, which are here, and this is a nice filter as well, with some envelopes and bits and pieces, and a couple of samplers and a morphogene. So that's then going to go probably with some pedals for effects and stuff. So I'm going old school. I've almost turned it back into being like a mini synth, to be honest. Anyway, so if you've just arrived, just join me, really. It's going to be a real chill out kind of use the screwdriver with a bit of sticky tape stuck to it. I don't have decent mics running. I'm literally talking into a little camera, the same camera that I've got on that's pointing at this. But I really just wanted to see if Streamlabs would work. So £5 for the question. Keith sold to Keith in Watford for being such a lovely guy. Ionian Echoes, hello to you. I'm just chilling, really. I thought I'd do a chill stream. Sorry if the audio is terrible. It's just this. But if this works, if this is kind of a useful thing, because I spend quite a lot of days either making music or tweaking or repairing stuff or whatever, it would be kind of cool just to have this running in the background. And it does seem like a few people are either kind of watching from work or kind of chilling out. So it was really nice to watch. Oh, hang on, have they come out yet? No. Just take that right down on Spotify for a moment. Nice to watch Robin Vincent's stream yesterday when in the evening when he was making a inverter, like a wave inverter, which was kind of cool. I like having that stuff on in the background. So my idea, just see if it works. I promise I'll improve the audio. I'll move the camera. The bottom line is behind me are the cameras we use for the mainstream, and I couldn't be bothered to kind of move them all around. So I thought I'd do a little stream here. And I've done a few test streams on Twitch, which no one watches because it's kind of like a hidden channel. But here is kind of cool. And I've got to say that Streamlabs seems to be working pretty well. Anyway, but well, so you don't miss it if you're in the UK. And to be honest, if you're in the US, you're probably laughing at us. I will flip over to the breaking news from our wonderful Prime Minister, embarrassing Prime Minister, in a minute. Now, the only thing I do have is I've got a delay on my voice in the headphones, so I'm going to take it out the headphones. Hopefully, I will not take myself out of the mix and mute myself again. So I'm going to monitor off that. Okay. Hopefully, you're still hearing me. And lunch break. Nice one, Keith in Watford. So let's just see what's going on with Liz Truss. Right, so anyway, my idea. I have got a modular, let's not have that for a second. I've got a modular grid style picture, which I'll see if I can load up. So this is where Streamlabs should come in quite useful. So let me find the modular grid. There is a modular grid called Mr. Wiggly. Oh, here she goes. Hang on. Oh well. Hey, inverted pipes. Okay, so we've got another new Prime Minister coming in a week. Just kind of par for the course for the madness in this country. I'm not into politics, or I don't publicly talk politics, but I think that's probably not even for the best. It was the only thing to do, really. Probably for the best for the country in general. Oh, stop spamming caps. Okay, so that's the first thing from this StreamYard system, which I'm just checking out now. That's stopped Paul Martin Taylor from posting caps. Okay, I'll try and switch that off because clearly you need to be able to post in capitals. I think it's, I don't know. I will go and find that in a second. Let me just put on some background music, which should be over here. Get rid of that. Got these going. It's kind of cool. Tell me if the background music is too loud, too soft. Hey Rustic, good to see you. Hey, keep right. Now I can say hello to everybody, and then I'll go and find the modular grid thing. So, hey, Martin Taylor, Culture of Ghosts. Keith in Watford. Ionian Echoes, lovely to see you. What I don't have is my wonderful YouTube thing. Sancy and hello, I didn't spot you dropping in there. Good to see you. And Rustic has now joined. And Omri Khan, hey, lovely to see you. Right, we're just chilling. I'm going to turn the music down just a little bit, but do let me know if it's okay. Yeah, we're just chilling. So I'm going to find the modular grid picture of where we're heading. So on modular grid, I am Mr. Wiggly. And my modular racks. Okay. Let me see if I can share this. How do I do that? Bear with me. Good job. This is just a chill stream, really. I can do a display capture, which is now going to go crazy because it will capture my Streamlabs set. So that's probably not going to work, is it? Okay, let's try something else. Or maybe it will. If I flick to here, that's where we're going. So what I've got is I've still got the Schwayman, but in the middle on the row here, I've got a bunch of mixing stuff from Frapp with aux sends, probably way over the top. But my idea is I've got oscillators, sound generators along the bottom, 2 samplers, sequencer, mixing, filters, envelopes, VCAs. And then I've got these 2 modules on the side here that allow me to add in a Pulsar 23, which is going to go through the modular, maybe a Lyra or something cool. Might even be something like a mono station or something like that. So let me flip back, turn off the display capture. Hopefully that makes sense. Oh, no background music. Okay. Why is that not working? Oh man, let me turn it up a bit. We will get there. So let's check this for a second. Monitor only, mute output. What a twat. I'm so sorry. Monitor and output. There you go. So, monitor and output. All right. Good question. The effects I want to use, Ionian, is... Here's a horribly big picture of me on a very terrible... This is actually the laptop camera that you're seeing me on. And this is the tiny little camera that's pointing ahead. I'm going to use a blue sky, a big sky rather. So I have a... it's made by... what are they called? Strymon Big Sky. And I'm going to use a delay which might be a Soma make a Lyra 8 display, delay that I can't show you in a rack. It's quite big, but it's the delay from the Lyra 8, which is quite dirty and grungy, so I might give that a go. Or I have a Roland Chorus Echo pedal, which is sort of their pedal version of those brilliant Space Echo boxes. So I might try that as well. And yes, adding a Lyra and a Pulsar still makes it portable. I mean, this rack is not really an EMOM style portable rack, is it? If we just flip back, it's not going to work really. I mean, if I let's have a look without me there. It's a big rack. I suppose you could class it as portable, but the thing is with the Pulsar, it's just so good, so no, you're probably right. I don't know why Streamlabs is running a poll in the chat, but I'll fix that as well. This is the point of doing this really. Streamlabs has just launched a way of inviting other guests onto the stream, which is why I'm kind of trying it out, because we use a thing called StreamYard, which allows everybody to kind of join in with links and stuff, but it has some limitations on what you can show on screen at the same time and the alerts that you can show. So I'm just going to give this a go. There should be a stream tonight with Inky teaching us all how to use an MPC as well. Yes, I'm using the QMF as a mixer too, but to be honest, I ended up not really using it as a mixer. I ended up using it as 4 filters, or 2 filters and 2 mixed filters. It does so much good stuff in terms of crazy effects, but the jury's out on that one. I might send back one of the 4-channel mixer modules and just use the QMMF. There's an overdrive on the QMMF, which is just a saturation switch here, which is insanely amazing. I did a stream actually about kick drums where I put this mod bass through here, and I just recorded a bunch of kick drums. There's a load of free samples if you search back in the YouTube timeline. I think it's called "I Made the Ultimate Kick Drum Machine" or something. And it is insanely brilliant, and so you kind of end up using it. You should use it as a mixer, really, thinking about it. I just don't. I end up using them all individually because you've got so much control. Maybe as sidechain ducking, that kind of stuff as well. Just basically going round and round in circles. My huge problem, I think, overall is, but basically I want to make two types of music. I want to do techno, same as everyone else. I want to be a mini surgeon. But I also want to do ambient-y, longer stuff, generative stuff, same as everybody else. That's basically the two types of the most common modular music. So in order to do both of those, I need to play with effect sends. I'm kind of obsessed with flying in effects, and this has been my limitation so far on almost everything. So I find it a limitation in Logic, and because you can't easily just grab knobs. So I've got a MIDI controller that allows me to do it. In the old days, we used to play the mixing desk. You'd just bounce in a tiny bit of echo manually to an echo return, and then send it back on itself to start distorting and feeding back on the whole thing. Is the music alright? It should be pretty chilled. Should also not copyright strike me as well. I do apologise that my vocal sound is not the usual kind of clear, lovely sound that I normally try and put together. Hopefully that's chilled enough for you all to get there. So basically, if you fancy watching me unscrew a whole bunch of these and chat if you want to know anything. Since missed that, that's fine. That's fighting talk indeed. Yeah, I think that's kind of going to be it. I've kind of upgraded a few bits and pieces, really. It's not it's an expensive modular set. Obviously it is, with the QMMF and everything, and I just feel like I'm not doing it justice without having some form of mixer in there that allows me to do sends. Someone mentioned the Ghost up the channel. Yeah, that looks great. That looks really, really great. It's big again. I mean, I kind of think pedals is the way to go for this. So to come back to your question about, is it portable? It's not really portable at all. However, I think the point is, if it works, I will put together a much smaller, more compact version in a small case. Maybe even just one line of stuff and the pulsar, and use that to do an EMOM. I think you could do that. The other thing I've just realised as well, after Sunday's stream with the amazing Hostipple, he played. Hang on, let me just grab this. He played a couple of live jams, kind of in a forest with batteries, with one of these. Hold on. Where are these? Where am I? There. Model samples. Model. Which I've got based on the fact that he, what a stream, what a stream that was, what a jam that was. And this thing is amazing. And I'm almost thinking you could do an EMOM just with this, to be honest. In fact, I know you could. The way the whole thing kind of, it's sloppy. You can program on the beat, get everything rigid like a normal drum machine, or you can play in manually with quantize turned off, and it begins to start a bit more groovy and start to feel a bit more groovy. And you can move it back towards the beat on a almost note by note basis with the quantize thing. So you can end up with these really organic, slightly off the grid grooves. And then you can start playing with the pitch and everything. This thing is, honestly, I'm so behind the curve when it comes to kit. So yeah, selling a bunch of stuff that just lies against the wall and doesn't get used, and replacing it with some stuff that definitely gets used. I'm kind of going through, I think, and changing up here and just looking and saying, do you know what? You haven't used that in the last 6 months. You're not really going to use it again, are you? So let's just be sensible and prioritize what you have. I'm very blessed to be able to have some of the kit that I do have, and to have had a career in music that's kind of got me here, and business and all that kind of stuff. But I just need to focus a little bit and make sure I'm using the kit that I have, particularly in these testing financial times. So I have Rustic, yeah, and I'm losing a lot of stuff as well. So but basically I've got some new modules, and I've got this, and I'm swapping out some monitors that I have as well. So for little Genelec monitors as well, which is kind of cool. So I'm going to take out a big amp that I've got and a few bits and pieces. So it's spring cleaning time. Lovely position to be in, but it's kind of a net zero. So I can sell some stuff and I can get some stuff, and I'm going to end up, I hope, in a better position with some more usable equipment, which is great. Do I have any keyboard synths for sale, Dom? Probably the OB6 and possibly the Hydra Synth Deluxe as well. I'm the only person in the world that doesn't really get on with the Hydra Synth. Keith, I'm put it up. So I'm literally word of mouth. If you want to ping me an email or something. I'd far rather not go through, I normally go through mates and stuff and ask around to see if anyone's interested. So just hit me up at Dom, Delta Oscar Mike at mrwiggly.co.uk, DOM@mrwiggly.co.uk, or just pop me a message underneath this stream or whatever. I'll pop you a mail, no problem. I know the modules and stuff I think that are moving. I've sold a couple of bits already, but the rest is just ready to go. So I might sell my Tempest as well. I was thinking the guys that make the 2400 copy, I can't remember what it's called, wanted to do a swap, which is quite interesting, but drums wise I think it all comes out of here, to be honest. If I do sell stuff, quite often it's Facebook Marketplace. I try and avoid eBay and Reverb. I buy things from Reverb, but I try and do kind of direct sales in some way or another if I can, and quite often it's to people that I know as well. There's a few people, I've bought stuff and sold stuff with Matt, for example, Matt Hodgson, or usually if I just mention it on Facebook, quite often someone will pop up and say okay, and it's great not to have to ship it internationally if it's a UK based thing. But yeah, so I've only ever had good results, though, to be fair, on eBay, Reverb and Facebook Marketplace. So I may be lucky, because I know a lot of people kind of have mixed results there. But so far, I've never had an issue with deliveries going missing or payments not going through. I almost find that if you chat to someone on Messenger, you can get a feel for whether they're legit or not. The riskiest thing that I ever did was I bought this QMMF direct on Facebook from abroad. And I got some feedback on the person that I was buying it from, and people to vouch for him. But it was in the hands of the gods, really. So and it came through, and I won't say who he is. He's a lovely guy, super trustworthy. But just for a moment there was a very critical kind of like, am I going to do this? Because that was a chunky investment a while ago. Hey Lion Sand, how are you doing, sir? Lovely. Good to see you. I sent Lion a virus snow to Canada a long time ago, so it's lovely, and it's still in use. When you first got it, I think you weren't so into it, and now it's remained in your arsenal forever. which is fabulous to see. Really, really good. What else is going on? Lion saying, I don't really like the Hydra, so you're not alone. Yeah, it's just, I think for me, the keyboard doesn't feel very nice. And I understand why. It's got polyphonic aftertouch, and you know it's hard to build that stuff. And I mean, it's I'm a piano player originally. I kept my D50 for years and years and years. I still do, to use it as a master keyboard because I like the keyboard feel of it. It didn't use any of the sounds. It was just my master keyboard. And I'm not blown away. To be honest, I thought the Hydra synths would mean I never had to switch Omnisphere on again, and I think that that's not the case, and that's probably asking too much. You know, obviously there's things that Omnisphere will do that the Hydra synth won't do. I get that, but I've got a feeling I would end up using a plugin still rather than the Hydra synth. Not to say it's an absolutely brilliant thing, and clearly it's the closest thing to a CS80 I think most people ever get. It's a wonderful thing, but just not for me. I can use other stuff, I think. I just found the sounds of Metallic and MP3 sounding not rich. Yeah, I know. I think we might be maybe using it wrong. But yeah, that was my yeah, just didn't quite float my boat. See you, Sensian. Thanks ever so much for joining. It's really nice to just chat, actually. If anyone fancies joining, I can probably put a link up because I've got to test the multi-user thing at some stage. And brilliant. If you sent me a PM, Sensian, that would be very, very kind. Thank you very much for your help there. I need to just get my acts in gear and do a bit of tidying up and get them all into it. So I only am saying, any arguments why not to get an OB6? I've been dreaming of one for years now. No, I don't think there are any. Whoops, sorry, I've knocked the camera. Now I've really knocked the camera. Hang on. How funny. Knock the camera and then knock it, trying to get it back to the same state. No, there aren't any arguments. It's an amazingly wonderful synth, and a future classic. My preference would be the P6, and I know I'm in the minority there, but because I grew up listening to Japan and some of the more subtle sounding things, and I know they used an OB, don't worry, I get it, but they used a lot of Prophet, and it's the Prophety warm sounds that I like, rather than bands perhaps like Ultravox or Simple Minds, who had very loud, brash, brassy sounding chords on a lot of stuff, very cutting stuff, is what I associate with the OB6. And it's just a personal taste. I don't use a lot of bright, brassy, brashy, cutting, wonderful OB sounds. I prefer the slightly warmer subtlety on the P6, and it is absolutely ridiculous to have both, particularly when I don't use the OB6 too much. So, but there really is nothing, you know. Again, there are some amazing sound packs. Jamie Morden's done amazing sound packs for the OB6 that make it sound like my Prophet. So I'm kind of talking rubbish, but apart from the fact that it is pointless to have two, it's too much of a luxury. Yeah, Lines again saying, I'm sure a lot of people are putting more time into the Hydra and getting better results. I think that's 100% true. Yeah, absolutely. I'm very guilty of not spending enough time on new synths and things. He regrets selling his SEM. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, Culture of Ghosts, I like the Hydra. Yeah, I think I'm completely in the matter. It's not that I don't like it. I just think it didn't blow me away as much as I thought it would blow me away. I think that's it. And it's a luxury again, where I think, it's a lovely thing to have, but more often than not, it'll probably end up being a controller keyboard, which we'll very occasionally use a few sounds from, and it's just, financially that doesn't make sense in this environment. I have way too much stuff, which is obviously a very blessed position to be in, but it's like I just want to focus a bit more, and at the moment that's getting this thing kind of going, getting comfortable with this. I've got a little tie up now obviously with Soma in the UK, so I've been very blessed again to be able to kind of use a couple of their bits and pieces, and the Pulsar's completely changed everything for me. I mean, for kick drum techno-y stuff, the kick drum on that thing would literally, on a big system, just knock the walls down. I've never heard anything like it. So much so that, you know, my previous ultimate kick drum, which was mod based through this Schwayman, which is amazing, actually I can turn into a sample now, and I can stick it in the bit box or something like that and have it almost as a secondary kick drum. So with the pulsar on the side, that gives me the core kind of system, but for less pumping techno stuff, who knows? So it's a bit difficult, really. But you know, I want to get on and do something, and part of that was like, okay, well, I'll stream it, then I actually have to do something with this screwdriver. And so far I've just chatted because it's amazing. Hello Tonal Axis, thank you very much for joining. Excuse me. I hoped you taught me out of the OB6, that continuously variable filter type things. Yeah, absolutely. I think Jim Glue is in exactly the same position. He pops up every now and then and says, you know, have you sold your OB6 yet? It's like, no, it's still there. Peter James is saying, I'm using the Hydra Deluxe with the OB6E software. It's insane. I'm sure it would be. Wow. Let me check what's going on with that poll that's popping up. I'm going to try and find the Streamlabs. Where are we? Polls, because that shouldn't be popping up a poll, not poking out a poll. Widgets. Let's see. No, it's not there. One day I'll work out. This is the first time streaming with StreamYard, hence it's a kind of laid back, chatty kind of stream. It's really nice to see everybody though. You know, it's like 15 to 20 viewers. It's just really chilled. I think if you missed it, I was just saying how nice Robin's Molten Modular stream was last night, with just kind of chilling, building his wave switcher, or his wave inverter, and kind of making mistakes and getting it right, and it's quite nice. His wave folder is the proper term, isn't it? Getting it right was really nice to watch. It's nice to be able to do that without actually having to get your hands dirty. Yeah, Cosmos. Yeah, I haven't really played with one that much. I'm hoping to be able to get one here. We had one at Synthfest. They are, I mean, honestly, it's not an advert for Soma. They are amazing though. The way that Vlad comes up with stuff and then they make it rather than talk about it is astonishing. Lion saying the OLED Deluge is so good. Oh, you've got one, Ray. That is amazing. I've still not seen one in the real life. I think, did you buy a new Deluge to get it up front, or are they already doing the repairs? I think the repairs don't start, well, sorry, not repairs, just so you know, the Deluge, which is here, is now getting a display that's going to go, instead of these LED displays here, which I'm sure you're probably all aware of. So everyone, including me, who said you don't need a display, you can just use the buttons, you know, don't be silly, it's absolutely brilliant, is now saying, wow, we've got to get that display, that's insane. First of the queue, please. So I've eaten my hat on that one. It does look like an amazing thing. Not to say you can use it without, and muscle memory, and there's a certain happy accident sometimes to using it without the display, and the buttons do a good job. But I have to say, given the choice, I think I was wrong. I think the display, when it comes to things like loading samples quickly, seeing the state of stuff, from what I've seen, because I haven't actually seen it in real life, makes a massive difference. Oh, so Lion sold the old one, got a new one. Yeah, absolutely. So any new Deluge that you buy comes with the display already fitted. Old Deluges, I think it's November the 1st, the first batch are being done, and they'll be done over the course of the first few months. Tonal Access, hello. I've started developing DIY module kits under the name of Axis Modular. A couple are on Thonk. Do you DIY Eurorack stuff, Mr. Wiggly? Oh, fantastic. Not yet, but I'd love to. I'm good at doing stuff like that. I've got the oscilloscope and the soldering arm with the temperature station, and I'm involved in doing some of the support for SOMA and repairs, but they don't tend to go wrong. I think there's only been 2 of those, and most of those are like a knob's fallen off and they've been lost or something. So, but yes, I'd love to. My current minor obsession with building Eurorack modules are based around either a Raspberry Pi or a Teensy or an Arduino or the new Raspberry Pi 2040, which is a Pico. If you know the Raspberry Pi Pico, because of the chip shortages, I think they've designed a new Pi called the 2040, which is Pico compatible with a chip on it that I think they manufacture. There's no shortage of it, so they can keep pumping these things out. And a module with a Pico on it. I almost just want a development module, really, that has a Pico on it and some switches and knobs that I can program to do stuff. Because what I'd really like to do is make a decent reverb, along the lines of the plugin that I've got. The Incinerator has some reverbs and bits and pieces on there, and I'd quite like to see if it's possible to recreate those within a Teensy. But also, obviously, other stuff like generative stuff would be really good. However, let's have a look. Oh, Nightbot's stopping Matt Evans from doing something. I do apologise. I will switch Nightbot off in a second from stopping people post what they want. My Turing machine doesn't lock properly, which is really annoying. Oh, that's a shame, Peter Carr. I have a Turing machine. I have a Turing machine here, which is coming out because I got it with the 2 bits that go with it to give it more clocks, but I'm substituting that and this bass drum module effectively for the mixing section, and I'm going to sample the bass drum module, and I'm not going to use the randomness from here. I'm going to use or the rotating Turing randomness. I'm going to use the Hermod, and then I'm going to see what happens. And I think I have to take a couple of other things out. I'm going to take this mixer out. I think that gives me enough room. So I think losing the Turing machine, turning this into a sample and replacing this mixer with a mixer actually leaves me in pretty good shape. Let's go back to see tonal axis on Thunk. Let me see, called Axis Modular. I'll be right back. So, Thunk Axis Modular. Oh, wow. Okay, so if I can share this quickly with you without going crazy. 1 second. You have a 2 input filled DIY kit, which is exactly what I seem to have bought from Pico, which I'll show you in a second. I wish I'd known that before because yours is cheaper. And an Axis Modular split. What does that one do? That's stereo. Oh, so you can split stereo. Is that right? You can put the stereo in and you get a left and right out. Okay, and it's a double. Oh, nice. I'm guessing that works in reverse as well, right? So you could put left and right in and get a stereo lead out of it. That's really interesting. So this I find is really useful. So I'm using something like this to allow the Pulsar 23 to come back in. So let's just kill that for a second. So this module here, this Pico, and there's one in the top right up there as well, is exactly what you've built. It has 2 inputs, 2 outputs, and 2 gains. So you can use it in stereo or you can use it as 2 monos. And that takes line output from, say, Pulsar 23 or a pedal, and brings it in to Eurorack territory, which is usually much louder. And they're really useful, but yeah, I think that was more expensive than yours, and presumably not that crazy to build as well. I guess it's an op amp. Everything is an op amp, right? Culture of Ghost. What are you saying, Matt? All I did was say hello. Oh, Matt, sorry. Don't panic. There's this. We're trying out Streamlabs today, and Streamlabs has a bot who is super insistent on stopping people from spamming emotes or capitals and stuff. So let me go and fix that now. It's absolutely nothing personal or a problem with you whatsoever. I will fix it now as well. So I also can't work out why we're trying to run a test poll, but we'll get to that as well in a second. So symbol protection I need to switch off. Word protection I will switch off. Paragraph protection I will switch off. What else do we have? Chat alerts. Hopefully we'll switch off the Discord alert. We have our polls. Look at that. I can close this poll because it's rubbish. And I think that's done it. So fingers crossed if we come back. So yeah, sorry about that, Matt. And I think a couple of people have been kind of timed out. Hopefully that's gone now, so we get no more poll. The poll is now closed. Test was the result. Yeah, so Matt, it's good to see you. I'm glad you're good. Thonk and the kits are great, says Keith and Rob. We currently don't have the space to make the 8 kits sitting on the side. Absolutely. What else is going on? Zoya. Is that Zoya? No, I don't think so. Unless I'm going mad. Rample and a Hermod. So no, I don't have a Zoya. What else here? I've got the 4 HP Turing machine from ALA, and the OG one is just way too big. I agree. So this Turing machine here, it's a brilliant thing, and I love that kind of feel to the whole thing. It basically generates loops of notes that randomly, and when you get a nice sounding loops or spaces of notes, so you might get a little riff going on, and you can adjust how widespread those notes are, and you can get them tuned to the same key, and when you like them you can lock them so it just repeats, and then you can get triggers out of it and so forth. But that's a very big space, and this is a very big space for a kick drum module. So I'm thinking we're in a good space if we literally just get rid of a few of the things in here. This mod base is actually not cheap either. I don't think they're made anymore. So it would be a good way of raising some funds. I was lucky to get the Black Mangrove V2 prototype with the PPM side module. They only made 25. Yeah, the Mangrove is something I've been lusting after. This is back to Surgeon. Surgeon is a techno DJ of high regard who has done... He's constantly changing. But he's done live modular streams, live modular gigs for techno. He's DJ'd with a memory stick, or he's done mixtures of the two. He's out now with a Pulsar, I think. A friend of mine who knows him, lives up the road, said he did an entire 20 minutes in one gig just on the kick drum channel, which is quite insane as well. It's brilliant. Shows you how adaptable those whole things are. But Surgeon was one of his more famous setups in his rack. Was a combination of this thing called Just Friends, Sisters, and Mangrove, all made by the same people. They're made by a company called Mannequins. I don't have a Mangrove here, and that seemed to do him quite well. Again, none of those are cheap. Not many are still available. But I like the Sisters and I like the Just Friends. Sisters is a filter with 3 inputs and 1 output, 4 inputs actually. So you can plug in 3 different oscillators and sweep through them with your filter, and one will have the high content, the mid content, and the low content. And you can take a mix of everything out, or you can just take highs and mids. It's a way of combining 3 completely different crazy sounds into one super duper crazy sound. It's a nice touch. So for example, here there's an oscillator, an oscillator, an oscillator. They could all go into here, and I could modulate that, and it can be just crazy. So when you're doing things like techno, you really only need, well, it's all about the kick drum, right? So you're arranging things around the kick drum, and that's generally other percussion, low background noise, and maybe 1 riff on the top. So you don't need complicated stuff going on all 3 different oscillators or whatever you're using. Just Friends can also be an oscillator as well as a kind of a multiple kind of adjustable LFO that can just sweep the other stuff. Talking as if I understand modular. I understand the bits I've got. I'm by no means a modular head, but this is kind of where I'm at. I'm trying to make it work for me, and I've gone down that rabbit hole, and I think I've got somewhere. If I can start using this and getting the sounds I want, and then I can make this a lot smaller and hone in on just the important bits, I'll be happy. Hey David Serchek, love to see you. What else is happening? Surgeon is a genius, half god, half beast. Yes, indeed. David Serchek saying, I don't think I have any of Dom's modules. Sisters, yeah. Sisters is good. It is a really good module. Well, I do have a maths that's not in the rack. What else is common? I've got a couple of other bits, but nothing too common. What I've avoided are things like marbles and that whole family of braids and whatever they're called. You know, you can make a really good modular out of one of each of those, but to me it felt a little bit too easy. It felt the route to go, probably the better route to go would have been to go down that and to learn them, but they occurred in a lot of people's modules, and I was trying to come up with a way of sounding a little bit different, and I've gone full circle, and I've ended up basically building a really big mixy synthesizer, I think, but there's nothing wrong with that. Henri Cohn, lovely to see you. How do you like the Hermod? It's early days for me, and I really like it so far. I'm hoping it's going to be the brain of everything. In fact, I'm relying on it being the brain of everything. I like the way, particularly at the moment, that you can plug in a keyboard. So, just reach over here. I have this really tiny Akai keyboard, whoops, down there, which is an LP. It could be anything, but it just happened these were on sale. Mini keys, but it's a little MIDI keyboard in the idea of keeping it portable. I like the way you can plug one of these in and it will convert the MIDI to CV and gate, so you don't have to worry about quantizing voltages. You know, I can plug it in and I can literally play a tune immediately, and I can record that tune. I can imagine in my head a little synth line, I can play it in, and it just works. It's like having a really neat sequencer. It does a bunch of other stuff as well. You know, you can input one note on a 16-bar cycle at the beginning, and then internally with the effects it has MIDI effects, so you could say, right, make that one note an arpeggio, or make that one note, you know, bloom in a certain way, playing lots of other keys. So that side of thing I've tried, but I haven't used in Anger yet. But I just love the way that with my keyboard playing head on, I can turn that into CVs and gates and actually get them at least get the modules in tune, which is a nightmare normally, and playing something I can hear rather than completely random accidents which I can tune. Again, sometimes that's not modular, the meaning of modular to some people, I guess. So yes, Nern has changed my life. They are everywhere now. I have news for you. I can't tell you live on the stream. Mind you, I've had news for about a year, but I still can't quite pull it off. But there may be an alternative. Nern are great. They're absolutely great. Don't get me wrong. But there may be something else coming to the market soon. Matt Evans, I could never go modular for 2 reasons. 1, they baffle me. Yeah, me too. 2, I have an addictive personality. Me too. And I wouldn't stop once I started buying. Well, there, look at this. Yeah, exactly. The only thing, and don't let this influence you because that is a very good stance to have, is that they tend to hold their value. So you are able to sell the stuff. That said, that's not the case at the moment because people are tightening their budgets, tightening their belts, and I think the second-hand modular market is harder at the moment. But in general, as long as you don't have to raise cash quickly, and you buy sensibly, So most of the stuff I've bought has been used in the first place. You have kind of an asset that can be sold, but don't let that be an excuse for you to get into it, because like I say, the finances at the moment are, who knows what's going to happen next, and the first thing that kind of gets knocked off your list of things are luxury items and hobby items, right? So you need to pay the bills before everything else. How do you like the Hermod? You should check out some Frequency Central. I haven't seen Frequency Central modules. That's worth a try. Hold on a second. I've just got to get the phone. One moment. Hey, that was Mrs. Wiggly and Lulu May calling to find out if Hazel, the dog, was inside, because we have a gate, and she's fenced in so she can run around in the garden and stuff, but she's very excited whenever the gate opens, as in when a car arrives, or particularly the postman or anyone like that. So we kind of have to keep her inside if anyone's coming through the gate. So we have to call ahead and say, yeah. Luckily, at the moment, she is in. She just hates the rain, which is kind of cool. She's 6 months old. If anyone doesn't follow the Sunday stream about everything about Hazel, she's Lulu May, my daughter's dog. And she absolutely can't stand the rain. And it's been raining over here for most of the morning. So yeah, the chances of her going out are pretty minimal, which usually means we have to be a little bit careful for the deposits left around the house. Where were we? Tone Access Frequency Central modules. That is one I actually haven't heard of. Let's just check that out. Frequency Central modules. Good to see I haven't actually taken out a single module yet. I've just been chatting, which is fabulous, got to be honest. Frequency Central. Oh, nice. Okay, let me just pop that on the screen. We'll work out a better way of doing this too. There we go. Oops, that's what we're listening to. 5x5 patch bay matrix. 8x8 patch bay matrix. And you can buy them as a kit and the PCB, so it's much more kind of economic. Looping AR generator, the Blades of Ingenuity. Nice. PDSR. A flexible full-featured 8-step analog sequencer under digital control. Nice one. And you can get the PCB for that for 50 quid. And the panel for just under 50 quid. Nice one. I like that. Pop back and lose that. Don't do it, Matt Evans. No, indeed, please don't do it, Matt Evans. Bespoke with a PAMS. Yeah, I love that there's a PAMS there. That's going to stay. That's a clock module. So you clock it with something, or it can be the master clock, and then there are 8 outputs, and you can set those outputs to be any multiple of the clock. So you could have a 4s if you want the kick drum, but also you can set them to be random. You can set them to be kind of LFO style if you want voltages, all sorts of stuff. And not just random, you can make them kind of percentage random as well, so that they only happen every now and then. It's a really good module, actually. Let's have a look what else is going on. LPK Wireless has CV Gate. Does it? No, I don't think so. No, what I'm saying is, if I plug the LPK25 wireless into the HerMod via MIDI, then it triggers the CVs and gates coming out of the HerMod. Any MIDI into the HerMod is instantly converted to whatever you want, really. So channel 1 of the HerMod can even just be outputting, you know, a monophonic line, or even all 8 channels could be 8 keys, if you like. Yeah, so no, this has very little out. It has USB, sustain and power. It would be better if it had a MIDI out rather than a USB out, but I can still use it with a little USB hub. Plus you just bought a new synth, Matt Evans. Yes, please do not buy Modular. Please. Is that a new telephone module? Oh yes, it is. Yes, it's the speak to your family to make sure the dog's okay module. Quiz question coming up from Keith in Watford. What did he have for his lunch? All right, the chat is open. Let me just get down to the bottom of the chat. Tipping down in Norfolk, yeah. It's kind of just stopped here, but it's on and off all day. Remember, no screws put back until you're committed. Yes, Lion, that's a very good idea. How do you feel about multi-purpose modules like the disting and PAMs? I have a disting here, which may or may not be staying. PAMs I absolutely love. It's not quite multi-purpose, I don't think, like disting. It's like a multi-purpose timing toolkit, I suppose. I was going to use this disting, I have been, as an effects kind of thing, so echo and reverb. I wasn't really using it for anything else. So because of that, because I'm about to replace some stuff with pedals, it's coming out. But it's the thing you put in, I think, when you've got a little bit of space left on your rack, just in case. And very occasionally, for quantizing, for effects, sometimes really useful little toolkit. Very, very neat. I think in behind there is something like a Pico that they've coded. So idea of kind of a, I'm sure I've seen one. You can get a Pico behind one of these with 3 or 4 ins and outs and a couple of knobs. Don't think it has a display, and then you can program the Pico behind it to do something, which I think would be really, really neat. PAMs being the clock masterpiece is just weird. You can set the you can't set the decimal BPM. That's true. That's true. It has decimal BPM when you clock it from something else, doesn't it? Yeah, that is a bit weird. Multifunction modules break my soul. I usually end up using them for one thing. I agree, Lion. Hence this, you know, this is a reverb or whatever. Okay, so here we go with the quiz. What did Keith in Watford have for his lunch? Half God, half biscuit is saying a sandwich. Omicron, it can also do sequencing and modulation. Yeah, absolutely. You're talking about the PAMs. Yeah, absolutely. I've always thought of a multi-module as a kind of, can do reverb or quantizing or echo, or can generate a CV, or, you know, a real kind of Swiss Army knife. But you're right, PAMs it's kind of like maths, I suppose. It can do lots of different things depending on how you've got it configured. And yes, it can do. I never thought about the sequencing side of things. I've used it to sequence, but yes, in its own, it could do some really crazy stuff sequencing wise. Matt Evans, remember all the sound libraries are free. Oh, Matt Evans' new keyboard, which is kind of really cool. We've only had a sandwich. Inverted Pope says cheese or beans on toast. Cheese or beans on toast or a sandwich. What would you have for lunch? I think you had a pork pie. Do feel free to let us know whenever enough people have had a guess. Is the audio okay, by the way? I know it's not brilliant, but as long as you can hear and make it out, and the music's not too annoying, and my voice isn't too fuzzy, it should be cool. I think we might have a visitor in a minute, which would be nice, seeing as they've just come back. Right, I'm going to start undoing stuff. We just go back and check the modular grid version of what I want to do. All right, so here's modular grid. for those who missed it at the beginning, this big thing here, which is a very lovely mixing selection of modules, and I'm going to keep the QMMF sets. This is all kind of mix city. I got two inputs, top left and right, which are a bit like the modules that we just looked at. They allow me to put maybe a pulsar in on one side, something else in on the other. You shall see, maybe a lyra. Might be a mono station, actually. I'm kind of in love with the mono station. Or might be this amazing new model samples, but to be honest, I think I'm covered for samples and drums. I'm keeping all the oscillators. So we have the Hermod is still sampling. We have a sampler here. Hams is still in there. We've got VCAs and envelope generators. We've still got Just Friends and Sisters, and I've got the wave folder up there. Sometimes you can wave fold the resonant output of the QMMF if you overdrive it. I think that's my idea. We'll see what happens, because I don't think it's just sine by that stage. Underneath here, still got the bunch of oscillators. Keep the Morphogene in there because I want to do some backing sounds to it. Rampler's still in there. This sampler is going to be the kick drum samples that are replaced off the mod bass. So mod bass is coming out, and I'm going to sample it and put the samples in here because the pulsar is going to come in here with a new kick drum. And I've put here, this Soma make this delay, and I also, just to finish it off, have this Expert Sleepers ES8 in case I want to plug it into the, take the outputs from here separately into the computer, which is also already in the rack here. But this bottom left one down here, Soma have a delay. Let me just put back a second. Soma's delay, which isn't in this rack at the moment. Let's lose that. That is going to come out of the desk, but I'm not sure though. I think I might not use that as a delay. It depends how. I mean, it's a very lovely, raunchy, grungy, distorted, typical, fantastic Soma thing, but it is big, and with a pulsar plugged in and a lyra, potentially, I won't need it. So we shall see. Lunch was pea and ham soup. So before that, nobody got it. We had a pot noodle, a chip butty, Bombay potatoes, fish and chips, the pork pie from me, a sandwich, beans on toast and cheese on toast, and he had pea and ham soup. After all that, fantastic. This could be a common thing. We could just run constant polls. It's so good to have company. I quite often sit here when I'm about to do a rewire thinking maybe I should just stream this. I have to say I get more done when I don't, but it's nice to be here. Polygogo, like the look and sound of it, says Half God has, but can't afford it at the moment. I think, yeah, I definitely couldn't afford any of this without having kind of amassed over quite a long period of time some decent kit. So, and I'm kind of hoping with the current market conditions that I am able to sell a few bits and pieces for what they're actually worth, which would be cool, but I'm not in a huge rush. You think the screen is not seen fully? Oh, you could be right. You could be right. Of course you're right. Hang on a second. Well spotted. Okay. Let me try this. There you go. That should be it. I'm awfully sorry about that. Again, just to say we're testing out StreamYard at the moment as a first, so this is not meant to be a particularly professional stream. However, all right, so you can see it in full. I have this mixing thing, which is a combination of frat modules, possibly over the top, but I really want to just have a no compromise mixer with aux ends and things like side chaining built in, which I can operate, and VCAs all internally. So this is not just a mixer, it's a bunch of VCAs, it's a bunch of extra sends, a return module that comes in there, and a decent output module which will take over from what I've currently got using. Keeping the ES9 in there in case I want to take separate outs from the mixer into the computer, which I'm not intending on doing. This is the Soma mixer that I was the Soma delay that I was talking about, but we'll see. I think I'll use a pedal for that. I still have all the oscillators down here, plus the Morphogene, a ramper that's already in my rack, and this here is going to be a kick drum alongside the Pulsar kick drum, which is a sample of the mod bass which is coming out of the current rack. Sampler there as before, the Hermod as a sequencer, the two mannequins modules, filter, folder. These two are inputs left and right for the Pulsar and something else, and VCAs and envelopes. So it's pretty standard, kind of no compromise, really cool setup, I would say. Hopefully you saw that time. Yeah, the Lyra delay, I think it might end up staying in there. It's so grungy and lovely. I didn't realise they did one, and then it was like, oh, we'll see. For the kind of stuff I want to do with this, it's all about grunge. You know, not necessarily nastiness, but warm grunge, atmospheric, wobbly grunge. Excuse me. Using a drum boot impact into MIDI CV to clock my modular. Okay. 4MS quad clock is a nice performance clock versus PAMs. Nice idea. My system is basically quantizers and percussion. Yeah, Polygogo is cool. But I get weird phasing volume drops, so I need to be aware of that, but I do adore it. If anyone has a Bitbox, this is the original one. Mine's hung a couple of times. Once with this noise. And someone else mentioned that they had a problem with theirs. Now, the manual and the associated kind of support say check your power supply, but my power supply has been good. Is it good in here actually? No, maybe it's struggling a bit in this rack. Yeah, so if anyone has played with that and had similar problems and had it fixed with the power supply, it'd be worth knowing. I think that the QMF draws quite a lot of power from here. So to be fair, when I had it in another rack, which was only a 2-tier rack with a power supply, I don't think it ever crashed. Half good, half biscuit. I got Bitwig on Rent to Buy on Splice, so I'm living out my modular dreams in the grid. Yeah, totally. Bitwig is so good. And why not? Absolutely. Why not? It really... This is a very luxurious way of doing it, but the only reason for doing that is I just find it more tactile, and hence the need to try and find some sends and some mixing. I think the modular approach on the mixing desk is going to make it work for me. Not necessarily everyone's thing, but because I grew up old school, you know, flying effects in here and there and playing the desk, so to speak, I think this might actually work for me and be more of a spontaneous, creative tool. And if it doesn't, I think this is the point at which I stop the modular and go back into, well, who knows? Spend more time writing plugins, actually, would be a good thing. Omri Cohen says VCV Rack is free. Yeah, absolutely. And an emulation of Eurorack. I came across the Cherry Audio modular system as well when we were at Synthfest. And there was a guy that was developing modules that sat within that environment. That looks pretty cool. I don't think it's free, but it looked like a nice environment. I swapped modal samples for the Rhythm Game Changer for Central Box Master Clock Live. Oh, interesting. Interesting. I wasn't going to use my one for Master Clock. I mentioned this earlier. I don't know how many people were watching, but after the stream on Sunday with Hostipal, check it out. It was last Sunday. He did 2 jams that I posted from his YouTube channel. One of which was on these in Sitting in a Forest. Although I think he recorded it in the studio and then filmed the video. It's insanely brilliant. You could do definitely an EMON with just one of those. And what was brilliant about it was the fact that you can slip the timing, so it doesn't have to be on the grid. And it's not a choice between quantizing it on the grid and not being on the grid. You can quantize it subtly, moving it towards the grid, so you get this really unrobotic, kind of groovy movement to the whole thing, which is a bit out of time, but holds it together. It's kind of weird almost when you're using a machine to do that. It feels a bit wrong, and then until you kind of drop into it a bit. It's like listening to a really good drum and bass player, a drummer and a bass player, kind of locked in with each other, just moving around a bit. Clearly not as good as that if it's me kind of programming it, but yeah, just moving, slopping around the timing a little bit makes it have an organic realness to it, which is brilliant. Although the grid is quite powerful and sounds amazing, says Henri Cohen. Yeah, absolutely. Ionian Echoes, I use Euclidean pattern generators as clock for the system. Oh, like 5 of them, like the clock going into the metropolis of the delay. Like the clock going into the metropolis or the delay is Euclidean. That's interesting. So your entire clock then is not constant like you would expect. You're actually clocking it with a Euclidean based, like a Turing machine. That's a really interesting way of generating ambient styles. Well, I say immediately thinking of ambient style stuff where everything is just being pulsed in non-regular ways. Is that right? Have I got it right, Ionian? That's a really neat idea. Never even thought about. That's one of the ways of Modular, which you can do stuff on Modular which you just can't necessarily do so easily with computer-based stuff or standalone door-based stuff, I guess, doorless based stuff. Pulsar 23's recording feature with MIDI is maddening. Using it live is totally impossible. Yes, I agree with you. It is a law unto itself, to be honest. Anyone who's got Pulsar 23, it has a sequencer. It's more of a looper, really, more of like a MIDI looper style thing, where it has an inbuilt internal clock which you set the tempo on. You can make it generate a metronome with a patch cable, and you play along to it. And there is a quantize function that knocks it onto the grid, but that's it, really. I mean, it's probably less suited to absolute locked-on timing to a degree. It is what it is. I've always ended up driving my Pulsar via MIDI from something else, or via CV from something else. So triggering it rather than using the internal looper. And it was interesting to see at SynthFest. I explained the sequencer to quite a few people once I remembered how it worked, and it wasn't really the thing everyone used. There's a clock with multiple outs at the top, so you can literally take 4s and then 8s and then 16s and then 32s and use those to trigger drums if you want, in the same way that, you know, Pamela's out of the box will actually give you those trigger breakdowns. And that seemed to be a much more popular way of doing it, and then perhaps playing a little bit of stuff over the top. But generally, I think if you want live techno-y stuff, you, in my opinion, probably better off triggering something with MIDI to do that. I found a way to clock out the Soma Enna. I need to make a video about that soon. Yeah, that would sound great. The Enna is lovely. Ionian Echoes. The master clock is 4 on the floor, but it controls a bastard little nerd. Imagine a tiny little person, which you can set to be 5 different Euclidean clocks. Then those clocks go into my sequencers, clock inputs, delays, and clock. That sounds brilliant. That sounds really, really good. So you've got a straight master clock on the 4s, but it controls a little nerd from Bastel, which you can set to be 5 different Euclidean clocks. Then those clocks go into a sequencer, clock input, delays, clocks. I'd love to see a video about that. If anyone doesn't know what Euclidean clock is, if you imagine 8 beats, hang on. You imagine 8 beats, there you go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Could be any number of beats, but we'll try it with 8. And then you say, right, fit 4 beats into your 8 beats. So the Euclidean length would be 8, and the cycle would be 8, and the length would be 4. So you say, okay, got 8, fit 4 in. That's really simple. I'm just going to spread these 4 out like that, like that. So I got 1, 2, 3, and 4. So your 8 beats are subdivided nicely with the 4. Where it starts getting interesting is if you say, okay, here's your 8 beats, now fit 3 into it, and it goes, well, actually, I can't do that, so it'll knock it to the nearest beat. So it'll say 1, probably that, maybe that, something like that. It'll take it to the nearest one, and you start getting these really rhythmic patterns because the patterns are on the beat, but it's forcing a kind of triplet feel to its closest 16s, if you like. And then you can start getting really wacky, and you can say, right, actually, I'm going to make my bar 17 beat cycle, and I'd like you to pick 7 of those beats spread across those. And you start to see these actually very rhythmic stuff coming out. It sort of coincides with what a drummer would be doing in a Western kind of rhythmic fashion. So somehow this Euclidean way of dividing up beats into larger beats results in a very pleasing result generally, if that makes sense. Did I explain that right? I hope so. Okay, I think it's going to be time for me to get the screwdriver going in just 1 second. I am literally going to pop downstairs for 1 minute, say hello to the fam, and I will be literally back. Don't go anywhere. I'll literally be 1 minute. Also visit the little boy's room, so I will not be long at all. Do I have a be right back? I think I do. Be right back. Wowee. Wowee. Sorry about that. Oh my word. Out of breath. All I did was run back up the stairs again. Sorry about that. Ah. Oh my gosh. Right, deep breath. I need to get on the exercise bike, I think, downstairs. Thank you for still being here. That's absolutely wonderful. Wow. Very touched. What did I miss? Quite a lot, actually. We got to Lion's, I want to call you Ray, but we shall call you Lion. Lion's comment on the Pulsar 23 recording feature is maddening. I would agree with you there. It is perhaps not for me. It's one way of saying it. Ionian Echoes, the master clock is. Oh, we did that one. That's right. VCV is a nice training tool, I suspect. Yeah, absolutely. I use Euclidean with my Pyramid. No Euro rack gear though. That's from DJFX. Hello, DJFX All Productions. Good to see you. Yeah, Euclidean. It's weird how Euclidean works, isn't it? It's strange that dividing a smaller number of beats into a larger number of beats and getting them to move onto the closest beat should produce such a wide range of good rhythms. Should kind of be more random, but it isn't. So many of them are really pleasing. And also, once you've decided which beats within your Euclidean, you know, how long and how many, so it gives you your defined structure. If you start to shift those to the right in the bar or backwards and forwards on block, you know, so that the ends cycle around to the front, so you're literally shifting that Euclidean cycle. It's really effective. It's similar to using clock dividers, but gives it a more organic drifting feel. That is your setup, Ionian. It is. I really want to see a video on this. This is where you keep a 4 and a 4 clock. But you can then, it goes into a Bastel little node, which I'm not aware of, and you can set other Euclidean clocks on the top of that, so they go off drifting but kind of stay in time with the overall beat, if you see what I mean. Well done, says Dice Stratton. I have nearly 1000 HP, and the only common module we have is PAMS. 1000 HP. Crikey Moses! Euroracks are measured in HP, which is the distance of the size left and right of a module. So, for example, this very slim module here, if I zoom in on it, this tiny little one here is 2 HP. So this one, this black, let's see if I can see one that's a bit more obvious. This one here is 4 HP. This whole one along the bottom, I think, is 126 HP from here to here. So if you've got 1000, you've roughly got 9 of these, 9 to 10 of these, and that's 3. So your rack is basically, if my maths is correct, you've got 4 of these yellow cases, which is incredible. And the only thing we've got in common is this one up here. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Oops. There we go. That's incredible. That's you know, there's a lot of investment in this one, but crikey, 4 of these is unless they're all blanking plates. Even blanking plates are pretty expensive now. Then throwing delays with the Euclidean, yeah, nice way to start the day in the US. Thank you. If you're referring to the stream, it's absolutely lovely to have you over here. I just thought, I was saying earlier, for our US compadres who are waking up. Well, first of all, we have a new Prime Minister on the way because the current one's resigned again. So within 6 weeks, I think she will be the shortest serving Prime Minister in UK history. Which is quite a lot to deal with, I would imagine. But she really has messed it up so badly that, you know, you got to take the rough with the smooth, I think. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. Hopefully the markets will settle down a little bit, and whatever happens over the next couple of years. My personal opinion is there probably won't be a general election, but it needs to be they need to be really careful, and they'll probably lose the next election on this basis unless Puff the Magic Dragon appears and swoops down and brainwashes everybody. But we'll see. And the second thing is, I decided to stream this. So I was sort of sitting here, and I'm intending fully of using this screwdriver in a minute, taking half these modules out and adding some new ones, selling the old ones, adding the new ones, kind of re-implementing my modular strategy. I thought, how nice to be able to do this with a bit of company. It's worked out really, really well. It's really lovely. And it's also worked out that I've done absolutely nothing other than chat to you all, which is great. That gives me an idea. Hang on, where are we? That gives me an idea of the cunning plan variety, says Half God, Half Biscuit. Right. I find these streams very good for taking a break and getting inspired. Absolutely. Well, that's the idea, I think. But I would love to know your cunning plan. Line Sand, I've become a Vimona Modular fanboy. Collecting them. Oh, nice. Nice. And also, what I love about Mr. Wiggly is the quality of the people in the chat. Yes, Ray Line Sand. And that includes you, sir. Thank you so much. You all rock. Ian J. Cole, hello to you. Hello, Droogs. Corrosive Ride. We've got so many people now, which is lovely. Corrosive Abuser, Inverted Popes. I think I probably speak for everyone when I say thank you, Lion Sand. Yeah, absolutely, Half God, Half Biscuit. But it does include him as well. It's such a good group of people, not just involved around my little stream, but the everybody. Jamie's, the ProSynth stuff, Gaz's stream, Maths' stream, Jamie's Geosynth stream. It's just such a nice little tight bunch of people. And it was nice to see them showing up on Wednesdays as well, just to talk about the sort of slightly more serious mental health thing I did with Ollie, who is feeling better today, by the way, but was really in another space last night, I think, and very bunged up. So hopefully he will be overcoming that. Couch of Ghosts, I'm just waiting for Dom to start his ASMR stream now, and then he'll have most things covered. What can I do for an ASMR stream? I can wrinkle my favourite food in the world. That could be a quiz question, couldn't it? Marks and Spencer's hot cross buns. And the good thing about Marks and Spencer's, it doesn't have to be a Marks and Spencer's, to be honest. Any hot cross buns, it's just my favourite thing in the whole world. And they're so good for you as well. There's no carbohydrate, very high on protein, really, really big on all the essential vitamins and minerals. So, a packet of hot cross buns a day, and honestly, you're rocking. It's better than the fasting diets and stuff. I jest. Don't go and eat hot cross buns. But they are good. Euclidean circles and VPMEQD is a fun combo. I'm going to have to look up what VPMEQD is. VPMEQD. Oh, it is a VPMEQD. It's a quad drum voice, which is a really neat looking thing. I've kind of eschewed the drum voice modular scenario for samples at the moment, for samples on a pulsar. Snare on 2 and 4 and anything else can be shifted off grid, even the kick, and it sounds fine, just not everything at once. Nice. Oh, my mic is, I'm so sorry, my mic is distorting. I have to apologise for the quality of the audio on this stream anyway. My mic is not the usual mic, as you can probably tell. Where am I? Big me. This is my mic, which is a USB Logitech camera. Very old school. Not even, don't even know if it's HD, to be honest. It is this camera that's pointing at the modular, and my head is next to it, so I thought I might as well use the mic on it. So apologies for that. It's not going to be normal. However, I was going to say, if these streams work, which they do appear to, I'll set it up properly, and we can do some daily streams, you know, whilst I'm fiddling, basically. Hopefully the voice is still loud enough, but less distorty. With any luck, let me know. Anyway, if the music's too loud, also just give me a shout. There we go. He's on a built-in laptop. Yeah. I'm on a built-in laptop camera, and I tried the built-in laptop audio at the start, and then I flipped over to this one because it was just slightly nearer to my mouth, but it's not the usual ASMR quality. Tonal Access says, all my Eurorack gear is DIY'd. I wish I could stay the same. I mean, Tin Can Synthman as well. That stuff is just brilliant. And you save so much money. Again, watching Robin last night on his Molten Modular Build a Wave Folder stream. There's only one transistor and a few capacitors and resistors, and it worked, you know, and you think, oh, okay, so I've got a wave folder somewhere there. Now, okay, it has a symmetry control and a few bits and pieces, but, you know, wouldn't it be nice to have built that myself and just have it sitting there and then be able to kind of tweak it and make it unique sounding? I know there's a little bit more, there's probably VCAs involved and all the rest of it, but yes, hats off to you. Absolutely, hats off to you. Tonal Access. Liz Truss has resigned, half God, half biscuit. I'm a little bit behind on the chat, so let me catch up to the end, and then I promise I'll get this screwdriver out. 1000 HP, I'd have to eat zucchini for lots of years to afford that. Absolutely. Di Stanton, eBay selling frenzy. Yeah, have a look at Facebook Marketplace. No fees. You just have to be a little bit careful, but if you're the seller, it's kind of on your side, to be honest. On all the chats, I've never seen a flame war. We synthesists are eminently civilized. 100% Di Stanton. Also, you know, it's interesting, isn't it? The only reason that anyone's got moderators at the moment is because of the lonely lady spam, not because of people being nasty. What are hot cross buns? Is it a British thing? An English thing? A UK thing? Oh man. I didn't realise. All right, they are associated with Easter originally. There is a hot cross bun. It's a bun, and it has dried fruit. And when you get a good one, all the dried fruit goes into one side. So you just get all the dried fruit. They have a cross on the top, which I think originally they were made to celebrate Easter over here. Which is typically when I think when Jesus was crucified and then he rose again. It's that period of that in the Christian calendar, in case you don't have Easter wherever you are. And so but now, like most things, they're available all year round. It's not just, it used to be like Easter eggs, you know, you could go and buy them, but pretty much they're available all year round now. So yeah, that's it. The cross on the top is made, I don't know what that's made of. It's not sweet or anything. It's like a different kind of dough. And in there is like, there are some herbs in there. I don't know whether it's cinnamon or, you know, there's a particular blend of spices. Maybe someone may have said, but they are brilliant. I think they're brilliant anyway. I'm a real sucker for dried fruit in bread. And like I say, they are absolutely not good for you. And that's basically just a sugary, dried fruit, carbohydrate-y, glazed chunk of carbs, really, I suppose. But they are really nice. Really, really nice. Yeah, going to test cool-ins. That's a good idea. I would like to test a cool-in if anyone's up for it, because if cool-ins work, then we could try this instead of StreamYard. Not that there's anything wrong with StreamYard. There's a few things that this does, like alerts and things. I think I can do a test alert. So that kind of stuff, which drops over the screen no matter what you're showing, which StreamYard can't do. You can only do that over your own camera view. Okay, let's do a quick catch up. Hey BG Ollie, thanks for joining. We're just doing a very, very chilled out stream, testing StreamYard. You do save a lot, but then you realize how much work goes into designing them. We're talking about building your own modules. Yeah, tonal access, that makes sense. That makes sense. Wavefold is a really simple circuit. Yeah, 3 p.m. time for tea. Anyone want a cup? Is it 3 p.m.? My gosh. Oh man, I've done nothing but chat to you guys. This is fantastic. What a way of... I'm going to move this bun out of the way before I eat it. You'll notice that there was a packet of 4 and there's only 1 left. I'll leave you to draw your own conclusions. Rustic, I don't even have a Facebook account. Maybe I need one. It's a slippery slope, isn't it? I fully admire the fact you don't have one. However, selling stuff, I've had really good results as a buyer and a seller. And you know, you're basically just advertising and someone close to you. It's a very good search mechanism for people close to you. You could look at something like in the UK, we've got things like oh gosh, what's it called? There's a couple of like car boot saley things. They'll come to me in a minute, but a couple of apps that you can sell stuff again, which was you're kind of looking for local people really. BG Ollie, talking of DIY modular setups, has been making some amazing stuff on his Etsy store. Definitely worth just search. I think it's BG Ollie on Etsy. He's been making. Everyone's making their own modular. Just as I'm buying it all up, everyone's switching tack. Yes, half biscuit. Hot cross buns are an Easter thing, but pretty much like everything else in this world, they're now available all year round. Which is a good thing for me, not a good thing for my stomach, or for the size of my stomach anyway. Forget since, this is a great hot cross bun stream. That's it, pumpkin spice. It's kind of like that. It is like a pumpkin spicy thing. It's cumin, something along those, maybe not cumin, the brownish coloured spices, which most of them are. I know. I'm not good enough to taste it and tell you what they are. Toasted and buttered are indeed the best hot cross buns. However, they're even worse for you. There's some fat and a bit of crispy charcoal involved as well. Hey Neil Wardson, lovely to see you. Hey O'Brien, lovely to see you. Everyone's coming and saying hello. That's absolutely fantastic. Half God, half biscuit saying he doesn't have Facebook, but feeling like it's more and more a necessary evil. Craigslist, Rustic. Yeah, that's kind of gone off the boil. What do we have? Hang on. There's 2. There's something beginning with or something. No. I literally can't find it. They call Gumtree. Okay, I've got it. Spock and Gumtree in the UK. Gumtree's app is called Gumtree UK, so I'm guessing they might be international. Spock, which is SHP, Sugar Hotel Papa, OCK. Both of which you can sell. I don't think fees come into it, certainly not on Gumtree. The two things on Facebook that keep me there, because I do think it's a dying platform to a certain extent. It's not going to die, but I do think it's dropping off. Are Marketplace and the groups, some of the groups, just chatting in the groups about stuff. It's very focused on, you can find people with interests same as your own. There are forums and stuff, but to be honest, the Facebook groups to me kind of almost, it's the only reason I'm there. It's very annoying, but they do it very, very well. Neil Wharton's off Facebook too. Yeah, not missed it. I did a year with no TikTok, no Facebook about 3 years ago, and it was nice. But then when I released the plugin, I went back on it as a kind of marketing thing just to put the word out, and it worked. So it's almost for a business reason now, but then you get sucked in on the other side of things. I always think that things like that begin to fail when kids desert it, and kids desert Facebook because their parents are on. You wouldn't want to be on somewhere where your parents kind of is on your account, right? So they switch off to TikTok or whatever, because originally their parents wouldn't be on there. Now it's grown into a proper marketing thing. I think generally that's what tends to happen, but they're so huge that, you know, and they provide a business effect for some people that hard to avoid. But I wouldn't join Facebook just to use Marketplace. Definitely not. That's a slippery slope. It's just one way of selling something. If you're selling modules, I'll tell you what's good. Modular Grid. You can put free ads on Modular Grid. And so when someone's looking at a module, there's a button that says, is there any available in my area? And I bought a module through Modular Grid. That's really neat. And not many people seem to use it. And also, if you go on to DivKids Discord, so you don't have to join Facebook. We have a Discord too. But yeah, join DivKids Discord. There's a buy and sell section on there, which seems to be really good as well. Gumtree, that's the one. Yep, Gumtree is that the one I said in the end? Yeah, Gumtree. You got it before me, and I missed the chat. Thank you for that. Just done battle with my modular for the EMOM in Derby. Is it EMOM in Derby tonight? Are you not happy? Oh man, hey Andrew Brooks, thanks very much for joining. Gosh, EMOM in Derby tonight. Make sure, is it being streamed, Andy? It'd be lovely if it was. Is this a Jim Glue, Jamie type thing? It's so good that that's been becoming a regular thing. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, Ian J. Coles Brooks is my hero. I hope it's working for you. What else is going on? You kind of need to be everywhere if you release anything, however poor the platform is. Yes, I think that's true. That's true for music, for plugins that I've been doing. You just have to cover all bases, really. Very interesting battery operated orchestra Boo stream. They were on Sonic State actually quite recently, but if you look for Battery Operated Orchestra's YouTube channel, a couple of weeks ago they did a how we release music stream. Really comprehensive guide to the promotion, everything you need to register with, how to do it, the timescales. It's really well put together. I mean, they ended up saying, and now we're just going to drop all our social media, Facebook and all the rest of it, but I think they'll probably come back on now because they've had some success with the latest release. But if you're interested in putting out your own track digitally, mechanically, or whatever, both, it's a really good breakdown on there. Really good breakdown on there to do that. And I learned loads as well. I've only really had labels on my side rather than independent releases, and it was really interesting. The amount of work you have to put in and the bases you have to cover and the socials that you do. But it's presented in such a way that, you know, it's almost like a checkbox, like a PowerPoint, really, of like, okay, do this, and then 1 month before do this and do this. Really cool. Cockpit, the Endorphins module is great. It's 4-channel stereo mixer with a sidechain. Oh, now you tell me. Then you can tell how much sidechain affects each channel. Okay, that sounds cool. I think Matt Hodson was telling me about Cockpit. I have got a different approach with aux sends on, and it was the aux sends that kind of twisted in my favour, to be honest. Andrew Brooks has been moving modules around, and then buffered melt didn't work, and the rehearsal sounded terrible. Oh my gosh. Oh my word, it'll be alright on the night, Andrew. Break a leg. Crikey. He's saying James is not doing the broadcast, but it's being broadcast somewhere, he thinks, so that's kind of cool. It would be nice if we're around. Inky's going to attempt an MPC lesson with me later, 7 p.m. Hopefully with Kent as well. Kent's been obviously under the weather. He's kind of up and about again, but yeah, Inky's going to do like an hour of teaching us how to use the MPC, which will be interesting because we tried a couple of those on Twitch a while back, which is really good, and I found that if I said to Inky, right now, this is what I want to do this, and I want to do this, and I want to do this, it was quite hard. Whereas if I just said, okay, Inky, show me how to make a beat, and she did it in her workflow, suddenly it was much easier. So we kind of know the way forward with that. So that would be good. And then I think Kent's stream will be on after that. So it's a full day's worth of entertainment. Good point. Half God, half biscuit. He can't do hardware jams without Facebook, can I? Pretty much no. I don't think you can. You could watch it on YouTube, but I don't think you could enter it without a Facebook account. You could set up an account just for doing that. You know, I mean, if you've got the self-control to just pop in, you know, be in a group that you'd want to be in, put your advert up on a thing, and literally, you know, enter hardware jams, then that's the way to do it, I think, and just try and keep it out of your life. You might be, I mean, I don't mind advertising something for you if you're completely stuffed. You might be able to find a friend as well, local to you, that might be able to do it for you. There's a few things that go up there saying advertise for a friend. As a small niche artist, every channel adds up, so you can't ignore social media platforms. Absolutely, 100% from BGLD. The Derby Emon will be broadcast on Casimir Engine Radio Show. That sounds cool. All right, what time's it kicking off, and what time are you on, Andy? My modular curious friend decided at Synthfest that Eurorack is not for him. That's probably a good decision. I'm currently building a PSU for an independent sovereign nation rack system. Okay. I think I met your friend, didn't I, Homegrown? Can't remember. Well, there was a couple. I can't remember which one, but yeah, he was looking around at the modules. It's probably, you know, a decent thought. Ian, I have to watch Inky on catch up. So going out for my anniversary meal with Mrs. Cole. Congratulations, Ian. Fantastic. I thought your anniversary meal was going to an EMOM. Has she persuaded you to take her out instead? I thought this was the EMOM night. Some people think Facebook is more important than breakfast. Yeah, and I tend to disagree. It's not more important than breakfast, but it can be a useful tool. 7 p.m. So we're going to do a clash. So definitely watch the EMOM if you can, rather than me and Inky and Kent, unless NPCs are your thing. Maybe I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll monitor it in the background, and if Andrew comes on or anyone we know come on, then we'll rebroadcast it on the stream later. Right. Let's see what we can do here. Make a bit of space. A lovely chilled way to spend an afternoon. I'm just going to move this stuff out of the way. Whoops. Yeah, we can't miss Mr. Brooks. We will definitely rebroadcast that as it happens. We'll tell Inky to try and sort it out so that our MPC grooves synchronise with his modular beats via the delay over YouTube. I think it's just the audio of the. Well, that's all right. That's okay. If it is just, you know, we'll flip over. We'll monitor it in the background. Just put up with my synth addiction for 37 years. Oh my word. I've known Mrs. Wiggly for more than 10, 11, 12, something like that. I must check actually. He's definitely put up with my synth addiction for all that time. Inverted Popes, have a good afternoon. You've literally unscrewed the first module. Oh, I tell you what I should do. Oh no, it is unplugged. It's always a good start. Hey, Black Material Official, lovely to see you. I am basically. Let me show you the modular grid. I'm going from this to fundamentally this, but without the kick drum module, the touring machine, this mixer, a couple of other little bits to get some room, and I'm replacing those bits with effectively a mixer, which is this thing here. This is basically the same, but sorted out into VCAs, Pamelas, envelopes, just friends and sisters, then the QMMF filter folder, 2 inputs, one on either end, Hermod's staying there, Bitbox is staying there, huge, probably over the top mixer module with aux stems that are going to go out to some pedals, so I can literally play that on the fly. I'll also do side chaining, you know, I can really, I have a mixer's head, is playing the mixing desk effectively and just doing things on the fly and writing stuff. So I'm thinking this might make my modular a lot more spontaneous for me. And then at the bottom, same oscillators plus Morphogene in there, sampler. And this sampler at the end, which is a tip-top one, is going to have samples from the mod bass. And I'm going to plug a Pulsar 23 into one side up here and something else into this side up here, Lyra maybe, or something else. So maybe a monostation, something like that. So that's what we're building. That's what we failed to build because after chatting for how long has this stream been running? 2 hours. That's great. Wow, what a lovely afternoon. So chatting for a couple of hours. I've now removed my first module. So I think the trick will be to remove everything and then put it back. And as Lion Sand said, if it's still around, no screws in until you've committed. The only trouble with that, with this module, is that there are sliding nuts in here. They're not the preset holes. I prefer the sliding nuts, but it does mean that you need to make sure that they're spaced out enough when you're putting them back in, that you don't end up with all the nuts up the wrong end, or bolts actually, should I say, sliding bolts. What's the big white module in the middle? I'll hang on, favorite hardware synth as well. So the big white module in the middle is very, very blessed to have. It's a QMMF4 by Schweiman, which is kind of spelt Quejman. Very, very sadly, the guy behind Schweiman passed away earlier this year. But thankfully, I think production is continuing in his honor, really, I suppose. But this is Schweiman have a very good reputation for very great sounding, spectacularly well built units, and this is one of their kind of unobtainium modules. You know, there's very few around, very, very sought after. It's 4 filters and a kind of master that you can put it through all 4 filters, or as a mixer as well. And it has a distortion saturation switch on each one, and it just sounds amazing. It sounds absolutely amazing. So this mod bass drum through this Schweiman is my awesome kick drum until I discovered the Pulsar. And if you check back on the channel, there's a not live video, a previously recorded video called Ultimate Kick Machine, I think, and there are some samples. There's a link to a free bunch of samples of kick drums made with these 2 things, which I still use today. I think quite a few people pop me a mail every now and then and said, oh yeah, I love that kick drum number 3 in that pack. So it's completely free. Whiz on over and hit that link and it's yours. Lol, 2 hours now, that's what I call chill. Yeah, absolutely. Favourite hardware synth? Hang on. Favourite hard for tonal axis? I think my absolute favourite hardware synth is my Juno 106. But it's a Juno 106 with a couple of mods. It's got replacement. The original oscillators began to fail, so it has replacement oscillators in there, and the filter has also been replaced with these filters called gravitational slingshots. So one of the guys that was making replacement clones of the voice chips and the filters released this thing called gravitational slingshots. If you search Juno 106 gravitational slingshot, you'll see it, and they are they're his version of the filter. They're slightly different, and I think they sound amazing. They don't lose bottom end as you push the resonance up. And I keep meaning to do a video on it. It's insanely brilliant. The other mod it has is it has a Kiwi Juno 106 mod inside, which makes it touch sensitive over MIDI, gives it more modulation settings. It's just an amazing synth, honestly. So amazing, which is really cool. Unmodded favorite hardware synth, it was the Omega Code 8, I think. Just because it's just big and beefy and currently broken, unfortunately. The main motherboard has gone and it needs to go back to, or at least the board needs to go back to the US for re-blatting or something, but that's really cool. Oh, tonal axis saying I put my 2 modules. Oh, the ones that you've designed. Fantastic. Well, certainly the input one, which is your version of this Pico input, I think will do really well. I can't remember how much that one was, but it was probably more like 89 instead of the sort of 50, I think, that your price point is, which is great. Really good. And of course it's supporting, it's good to support everybody, to be honest, but nice to support makers as well. To be careful and get these out a bit more carefully, I think. It's pronounced $, Wayman, Schwayman. Yeah, they aren't cheap. But honestly, that module just no buyer's remorse whatsoever. They are amazing. They are absolutely amazing as just something to process sound through, not just modular stuff. Just put something in mono or stereo through it, and if you flip this switch, it just has this body and overdrive that just sounds lovely. A luxurious thing to have, definitely. We're very blessed to have that kind of stuff. I got very, very lucky when I found it, and took a risk, I know, because it was, I think I mentioned earlier up the stream, it was like there was no guarantee it would arrive. I just had to trust the guy and the people that were kind of vouching for him, and it worked. It was brilliant. Too many knobs, sliders for the win. Yeah, sliders on the Juno 106 are cool. You can never have too many knobs. Hey Chris Head, lovely to see you. Andrew Brooks, you have to say break a leg, otherwise it's bad luck. If you're playing live, if you say anything other than that, it's bad luck. And you had a bad rehearsal, which usually means you have a great gig. Track down an original Juno. Do you mean a Juno 6? Tonal Axis saying track down an original one. I bought my Juno 106 from new, actually. And I did think about keeping it stock. Obviously, when the oscillators tend to break because of the covering of they're a chip with lots of legs, and the chip is kind of like a circuit board. It's not just one chip, and it's encased in this brownish. It's weird, really. Plasticky, somewhere between Bakelite and plastic, I suppose. And that stuff starts going wrong. So you can either replace them with clones, and the clones are really good actually, or you can soak the covering off of the chips and kind of resolder them as well, or you do both, which is kind of what I've done, just in the process of soaking the old ones. Excuse me. But actually, the Kiwi mod just made it insane, and then the gravitational slingshot filter stuff just the bottom ends just suddenly appeared. It was just amazing. It's amazing to think that inside that synth is something capable of creating more bottom end than on the original Juno 106 with the filters they were using. I think it's the way the resonance, as you turn the resonance up, you usually lose bottom end. Yeah, not with this. Absolutely brilliant. Let's see what's going on in the chat. If you use the trig to WTF in the kick, it becomes crazy EDM. I use that connection with a level knob. Oh, you're talking about pulsars. I think pulsars have a WTF function. Yes. You use the trigger to WTF in the kick, it becomes crazy EDM. That's a nice idea. So much stuff about the pulsar I haven't explored yet. I really haven't done any patching. The pulsar has these nails that stick out. It's kind of ribbed nails, which you then use crocodile clips to connect between, and it's something I haven't really done in any depth at all. It makes those filters, they're really nice. My favourite is the Enna with my Juno 60 as a close second. A friend had a 106 back in the 80s. I thought my JX3P kicked its arse all day long. Interesting. I had a JX3P, and the singer in the band that I was in way back had a 106. Now, he was a better keyboard player than I was, but he kicked my arse with my JX3P because his Juno sounded fatter, mainly because of the chorus. So I've always wondered whether it's just because he was a better keyboard player, and he was a genius keyboard player. And he taught me kind of a lot of stuff. But yeah, he always made his Juno sound much better than my JX3P. Could be my programming, could be his playing, could just be a better, fatter sounding synth. Damn those screws, Dom needs knurlies. No. If you knew more about these screws, you wouldn't be saying that. We're disassembling. Hey Tim, lovely to see you aboard. We're also disassembling with a very crap mic, a very crap camera, on a very chilled out Thursday afternoon stream, just to see if it works really. My intention was to try out the multicam view that they've just launched on StreamYard, so we should do that in a second. Can you explain how the new mixer works? Is that like an expandable mixer? Does it have sidechain to all those channels individually or on the master channel? I've got the WMD, but I don't know that one. I can explain some of it because I haven't tried it out yet. If we pop back to Modular Grid. Okay. It's modular. It's modular modules. So it comes with an output channel, a group channel. These are 8 ins, 4 stereo ins on each one. This isn't at all. This is just a what's it called? Multi. So you don't necessarily need this out, but in order for the group to it. So, but let me explain from the top. Sorry. You've got an input level, send 1, send 2, and a pan, all CVable if you like, and an overall volume level. And the sends and returns are handled with the group in, so they all map together at the back, like you just described, and everything goes through that. Sidechain wise, you could sidechain the whole output by working on that group, or you could sidechain individual ones by literally just applying sidechain to this, which is my idea, because I want the kick drum and some other bits and pieces to just route through without being sidechained. So this multiple here is going to be the sidechainer, I think. So I'll put a trigger in there and then I'll mult out any of the other ones that need sidechaining. It's quite over the top. I potentially don't need 2 of these, but they're relatively new. I'll sell ones that I don't need. It's weird. It's weird to have something like this on a modular rig, but it kind of works with my thinking in my head anyway. Like I said before, I'm so used to working with a desk and playing the desk, if you like, that I need to take one of these out as well. That I think it's actually going to make a huge difference to the way that that I work, and to how spontaneous and musical I can make this modular kit become. But we shall see. But it also means losing quite a lot of the modules I've originally got to cover the cost of those as well, which is no bad thing, because there's a few that have been sitting around that I've been thinking, oh, it's not quite working, so we'll do that. Could you explain? I've done that. Lots of hellos and love in the chat. That's really cool. The Kaddish music makes me think we're having a memorial for Mr. Wiggly's Euro. That's Lofi Girl on YouTube. It turns out you can use Lofi Girl to play their tunes without getting copywritten struck. And seeing as it's a chilled stream, I thought it would work quite nicely. My gosh. JX3P does do cross-mod corrosive. Yeah, you're right. The band I was in was kind of a bit more squelchy and groovy, and the cross-mod clangs weren't so much up their street. Kind of hard to describe, but I mean, we were signed to Warner's, and we produced first couple of singles with Stephen Hague, of all people, which was amazing to work with. Stephen Hague is the producer responsible for a lot of my favourite tunes, actually. Some Pet Shop Boys stuff. True Faith by New Order. He just finished True Faith when he started working with us. And hearing that tune in the studio as I've just done this, was like, oh my gosh. I mean, I like New Order, but that just exploded in my head, so that was cool. And it was a bit more squelchy. And then, to be honest, when we got in the studio, it was all of Stephen's kit, which was the latest and greatest of pretty much everything at the time. And my JX3P didn't really get a look in. Tell us about the screws. I can't tell you about the screws, but it's been like that way for nearly a year. Gaz gave away the screws a while ago on Sonic State, if you happen to be watching the pre-show, and since then I've hit a bit of an issue. But Mr. Wiggly's range of screws is a thing. They will come out one day. There are two power supplies in this case, tonal axis, and they work absolutely fine. If you were around earlier, I was saying that the bitbox has hung a couple of times, and I need to check the current draw on it. I also have this case belonged to Polypores, which is how I met Polypores, actually. And he came on the stream, and it turns out that he's just amazing. He's the most amazing modular. Just the sounds that he gets are incredible. So the power supplies were originally in there. I think they're okay. I think they're okay for 3 racks, but it does depend. The QMMF is pretty hungry for ampage. Bitbox is pretty hungry for ampage. I also have 2 Dopefer. Are they A100s? I think they're called. They're hardcore power supplies, which I might swap out. I almost swapped them out before I started, but I thought I'd give it a go, and I've had no issues apart from the bitbox crashing a couple of times. And I'm not the only one to have an issue with the bitbox, apparently, so we shall see. But there are 2 main bus boards along the top. I'm not sure how much is drawn by those mixers, actually. So the only advantage I see between that and the WMDs, that on yours you'll be able to send a channel to send 1 and send 2 simultaneously. Yes, simultaneously and individually. So let's just say I have a snare drum for all intents and purposes coming up one channel. I can put an echo on it, I can put some reverb on it, and I can put them both on at the same time, and I can just literally twist them like aux sends on the fly, individually and together. So yeah, that's kind of what that does. It's got CV control over, as I presume yours has, over the audio side of things as well. It's like a desk. It's like a mini desk that you'd have with 2 aux ends on each channel, and all the knobs, which actually in a small desk is pretty hard to find. That's why I ended up with that. To find a little analog desk with real aux ends, knobs, not select the channel and twist something, is just quite hard. Now you're going to tell me there's one for 200 quid that I missed, but with 8 stereo ins as well, or you can combine them as monos. So I'm sad looking at you turn those screws. I'm setting up a GoFundMe for Mr. Wiggly for 200 Nurleys and a DeVault battery. I've got a battery screwdriver. To be honest, this is too big. I'm going to switch. I'm happy it's a chilled stream. You can't speed up a chilled stream. There's something very nice and relaxing about gently unscrewing everything bit by bit. Okay, we've got the mod bass drum. There you go, first unit. Only potential annoying thing about this, and it's an amazing kick drum module, is it has MIDI on the back. It's kind of weird, right? I'd almost prefer them to just put small jack MIDI sockets on the front. You end up routing stuff inside. Now I need somewhere safe to put this stuff. Let me find somewhere safe. On the desk behind me. I'm also, I think, going to need a pot for my lovely screws that Andrew Brooks is so keen on. Oh, excuse me. This needs to be resolved. What was your band back then, says Chris said. I'm a little behind in the chat, sorry. We didn't become famous, sadly. It was called Eric and the Good Feeling. And we signed, the 2 bands were signed to Warner's that year, Transvision Vamp and Eric and the Good Feeling. And Eric and the Good Feeling, sadly, their single didn't explode and didn't happen. And Transvision Vamp had a lot of hits, but they did have a very, very good-looking lead singer. But honestly, what I learned from that was incredible, and they were managed by a very amazing guy called Paul Kaplan, who was Marilyn's manager. So when I was playing keyboards for Boy George and Marilyn, that's where the switch to that band came from. And after that, he put me with Kate Garner and a lady called Julia, Princess Julia. So Kate Garner was in Hazy Fantasy with Jeremy Healy, and Princess Julia is an iconic club icon, shall we say. And a band called Deep Space, and that went on for a bit, and then I kind of concentrated on my own stuff for a while, and then I got into songwriting after that. So yeah, I learned a crazy amount of stuff back then, particularly working with Stephen. I mean, Stephen Hague was just insane. I mean, in a good way. Stephen Hague wasn't insane. It was just nice to see how. I mean, I'd worked in proper studios, but nice to see how a real producer was making stuff. What was really interesting was he spent about a day chopping and editing the format of the single off the demo that we'd done, to try and make it flow right, you know. So drop a bar here, or make that double chorus, or come in, and that's the first time I'd ever seen anyone concentrate on the arrangement. It's not even the arrangement, is it? The format, you know, verse chorus, middle eight, intro, whatever, of a tune like that. And he was really happy with it, and then he started working on it. I mean, back then, and to a large degree now, you know, the first 20 seconds are vital of a pop song. But it was the first time I'd seen anyone take it that seriously. And also mixing was very, very interesting. I had a mix engineer, but he also did a lot of mixing himself. Super quiet, super quiet over monitors, just to get everything absolutely perfect. Again, that was new to me, the idea of mixing quietly. At that age is a bit of an anathema. Okay, here is the Schwayman. Something very interesting about Schwayman modules. Can I get it out? Might have to take the top. Oh no, there you go. Is the red stripe is the wrong way. Can you believe it? With Modular, every single module you get has a red stripe that shows you the way, which way up to put it. The red stripe is always that way round, as in, you know, there is a mark that says red stripe here, it's always at the end. Schwayman modules, of course not. Being so expensive, the chance of plugging them in the wrong way around is always higher, so they're literally at the bottom. But this, honestly, this is just superb. Never ever adjust anything on the back, always send it back to be tweaked. This was actually serviced a while ago. Amazing thing. Right, let me go and put this somewhere safe. Chat catch up. ModiX is a very full-featured and sounds great, just couldn't go with the keys. So going back to your live rig for an EMOM. Well, Chris said no, it's too big. But the idea is, like, if this works, I'll make a smaller version and not another one. I will bring it into a smaller pack. So I have a smaller case, and I'll just keep the bits that are vital for going out for an EMOM and use this in the studio. This was going to be my EMOM setup, but I soon realised that, you know, it's just impossible to set something up like this and actually take it out. I might even do an EMOM with just the model samples or something, to be honest. There was the guy was doing it with just a pocket operator at Synthfest, right? See ya, half god, half biscuit. I think you've gone already. I'm sorry about that. Good thing about doing your racks on Modular Grid is you can find out the power. Oh yes, of course you can, Tony. I never thought about that. Yes, you can. You can also find out the cost as well, can't you? But yes, absolutely. Okay, so the WMD performance mixer is like that with faders instead of knobs. This is an 83 BPM stream. I'll leave stream running on the other computer to help with your YT. Thank you, half god, half beast. It also has an expander which enables you to send all channels pre-fader over DB25 to sound effects. That's an interesting and a nice touch. There is a pre-fade listen on this Frap module, so you can pre-fade on any of the inputs to headphones, which was the other thing I liked about it. I think there are direct outs, but not to a DB25. So the idea was, I've got an ES9 expert sleepers, so at least I can take 4 outs into there. It's me. Tesseract module from Andrew Brooks has their Tex Mix, which is modular. I have 4 mono, 4 stereo, and the output module. It's fairly cheap, but there is some bleed, which is annoying. That's interesting. I wonder how bad the bleed is. With the Schwayman and the quality of the audio coming out of that, with the things like the Piston Honda and stuff, I wanted to try and keep it as ultimately amazing quality as possible, and I'm hoping that they're kind of premium mixers, so I'm kind of hoping that that's the difference. Otherwise, you know, any mixer would be fine. That's interesting though. I didn't come across those when I was looking for options. Culture of Ghosts, okay, thanks for the input. I've never had anything like it, so I don't really know how to get. So this is hello Norfolk Rolling Rambler. I missed the intro to that conversation, but everyone in the chat is always really lovely and very, very helpful. Andrew Brooks, going to have a last run through before having a bit of a lie down. Thanks for the modular chill. Feel much less phased now. Well, hopefully, listen, very, very best of luck. Break a leg and all that. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. Every time you do a modular show, it just goes on to the next level. So have an amazing show. Hopefully we'll be able to pick up at least an audio feed and rebroadcast it as well whilst you're on. Yeah, EMOM, Ionian Echoes, is taking the world by storm. Yes, you do, Spy. Where did you see that? Oh yes, you can see it over there in that corner. Yes, the blue 2600. That's a great synth. That was my Sonic State synth of the year, and no one mocked me for mentioning Behringer, which is good because it's a brilliant synth, absolutely brilliant synth. I put my name down for the Korg, and by the time I'd even put my name down, they'd sold out the original Korgs. I see the mini Korgs are out now, but I'm really happy with my Behringer version. Yeah, I'd love an original, obviously, as well. But if you want to learn synthesis, subtractive synthesis, old school, it's amazing. And I've made tracks with just that. There was a Clownfest style URL competition to make a track with one synth, and I did it on there, and it sounds great. Sounds really, really good. In fact, it's been played out by a couple of DJs, which is just insane. The kick drums you can get out of it are brilliant, and that goes back to watching Vince Clarke make whole tracks out of it. I've worked in his studio. I've never worked on a track with him, but we've been in the same place, in different studios next door, and I've watched him work, and that was amazing. You put the kick drum down with it, then make another patch, put the hi-hat down with it, make another patch, do that. Really, really good, really good. And then I realised that this was a synth that I wanted. Could never afford, even back then when they were potentially affordable. But yeah, and it's great. The Behringer version is absolutely great. The blue version versus any of the other versions, there's no difference. You should check Starsky's car. Starsky Car took my blue one, compared it with his grey one in great detail, and went right round the houses, and they're slightly different, but in different ways. EMOMs as well for Ionian Echoes, already explained. Electronic music open mics. Cheers, Andrew. Thanks for joining. Are rapidly exploding around the world, or at least certainly in the UK. It's the idea that you make 10 minutes or 20 minutes. I think it's 10 of electronic music, and very fast turnover. It's an open mic night, but you turn up with some electronic kit. Now that kit could be a pocket operator, could be a massive Euro rack rig, but just bear in mind that you literally have 5 minutes to set up whilst the other guy's finishing, and 5 minutes to take down whilst the next guy's starting. So the idea of taking something like this in and getting everything in tune and making sure the patch leads are still right, and then plugging a pulsar in it, is just not going to work. Something smaller maybe, and it's just be creative, just play for 10 minutes, perform your own little gig, and everyone's incredibly supportive, and it's become a really good thing. It started off as like a bunch of people coming to watch themselves effectively, the people playing were there to support the others, and now it's beginning to open up into nights out for people who are just coming to enjoy the music, which is great, and they've started getting maybe DJs in between the changeover times, to allow kind of a little bit more setup time for people. And it's great. It's a really, really, really good environment, and a great thing for people like us, people in the chat and whatever, that are putting together electronic music. And so Andrew Brooks is one of those brave souls going out with a piece of modular, with his modular kit, which I think is brave, and because he's, I think, relatively new to modular, certainly new to playing modular live, and he went out, I think, on day one to the first one with quite a big setup, and he's honing it down and honing it down. So it's a great way of learning how to play, getting, if you've not played live before, getting you to grips with how it feels. No one's going to stand up there and shout or laugh or whatever. It's just a way of a soft way of introducing you to playing live with a very nice audience, and it leads to other things. And Jim Glue is our resident superstar EMOMer at the moment, I think, with some amazing tracks and performances being put together with a flight case with a bunch of Electron kit mainly. So that's worth a check out, and he's involved with the show tonight, I think. So it's definitely worth a look. Also, check out Jamie's Geosynths channel, geosynths.com, or Geosynths on YouTube, because he filmed the last couple of EMOMs, including one at Synthfest, but he's also done a couple of really good ones, and that had a large part of kind of pushing the profile up a bit, because suddenly people got to see what it was like, and it's opened it up. It's done a really good thing. I thought the colours would make a huge difference. Lol, says Tonal Axis. So it'll be relating to something else. Emom, superb to watch live on YouTube too. Yeah, Chris said. I don't know, there was something about Jamie's original stream which he kind of pulled together a bit at the last moment, but he had the cameras on the performances, but then he flipped back to the camera like this one, almost Eurovision style, in the nicest possible. You know, it wasn't naff in the slightest, like potentially the Eurovision fun naffness, but it was literally like, okay, well, that was a great tune, and so, and now we're waiting for this next one to come. And the whole thing became a lot more personalised and really, really interesting and good to watch. And obviously the chat was fabulous as well. So I hope it, long may it continue. I something has to happen out of the crew of people involved in this broad circle of synths and electronic music, and you know, from Sonic State at the top through, you know, all the way down to this channel, you know, at the bottom. It's like people are going to get famous. One or two people are going to break out of this at some stage and get a couple of hits going on, definitely, and perform and break through, you know, because the support and the critical mass is just there. Whether it's someone like Battery Operated Orchestra, that's just got some decent radio play on their single, so go check out their stream, like I said, about how they did that, what they put into place in terms of promotion and registering content and all that kind of stuff. Might be them, could be all sorts of people, but it's just like there's a breakthrough to be had on here, just to take it to the next level, and the EMOMs I think are pretty key to it as well. Let me just put these on my tape. I've never ever bothered with straps, wrist straps, static wrist straps. I don't know if anyone does, but you kind of bare boards and all that kind of stuff. Bitbox is a mad little box, isn't it, with these? Wobbly ribbon cables, but I think it's all secure. I wonder if that's what was causing the dropouts. It seems to be pretty secure. They do a mini one. I think Andrew Brooks has just bought a mini one of these, which would be great because it would give me a bit more space. But to be honest, this box is so much bigger than any of the other. Well, I haven't had that many. My other box, I thought, well, I'll never need any more space. So, you know, needing more space by upgrading a bitbox is really not on the agenda. Right, let me put these back over here. Hey Inverted, first taxi of Dad Run done. Oh man, we're on half term now over here. The school has slightly different dates sometimes. So Luna May gets 2 weeks at the moment. She's midway through her first week, and I think she has to stay longer next term or something. And it's also primarily mum run. I'm very, very lucky. Mrs. Wigley does a lot of that, which is fabulous. Although, to be honest, I do quite like dad runs. At the moment, Lily's still in the junior bit of school, so the mums and dads are kind of waiting outside, and it's quite nice, you know, waiting for your child to come out of school, having a little chat with with the parents, making sure everything's okay. And you know, I think from next year she's in the senior school, so you literally just drop them off and they don't want to be seen with you. Apparently, hasn't happened yet, but there's no kind of congregating outside waiting for them to come out. I think that's why you maintain friendship with the parents of your kids when they were young and growing up together, because there's just more interaction then. Hey Kev Human, love to see you. We are just literally doing a super chilled take the modular apart session. Oh, and I've just realised I'm undoing modules behind a webcam, so let's see what I can do. I wonder if I can do this. There you go. Ah, this Tempe down here, this is coming out as well. This was surgeon influenced purchase and doesn't do it for me, so I think this might be up for sale soon. It only doesn't do it for me because it's got a little bit of a mind of its own when you synchronize it to start with. It doesn't synchronize off the bat because basically it needs 2 beats at least, maybe 3, to lock into the tempo. It doesn't have a super fast clock, or maybe I should feed it a faster clock and half time it. But as it stands, you have to feed it 2 or 3 beats for it to lock, and so that's quite hard to get it to lock in time for me. That doesn't make any sense thinking about what I'm saying there, but I mean, it does make sense that it would take 2 or 3 beats to lock in, but it should still work. Maybe I'm using it wrong. It's quite a cool thing. If I was able to synchronize it consistently, then it is quite a cool thing. But no room in the new rack, and probably a step too far, because we've now got the Her mod to do that kind of stuff. Yeah, Kev Human, yeah, absolutely. This isn't really, of course it's about modular, I suppose, because I'm unscrewing a modular, but it's you know, there's a bit of interest from people about what different modules do and all the rest of it, but it's not really intended to be a stream to talk about modules. It's more quite often in the day I end up, well, if I'm not coding stuff, I end up kind of rewiring, and I just thought it might be a nice idea to try and stream it, and also check out Streamlabs as a way of streaming, which seems to have worked. Let me, does anyone fancy testing out the multi-stream option? Streamlabs is meant to have a way of bringing in up to 3 more people by sending them a link, and they open the link in Chrome, I think. So if anyone fancies giving that a test, I will send the link and you can give it a go, because possibly this will be a more editable, a more configurable version of StreamYard, which is what we normally use for the streams. So if you've got a camera and a mic and probably headphones and a browser, if you do fancy popping on, I can send you a link and we can just test it, but no worries if not. So these power supplies they're kind of basic supplies, and there's 2 of them, almost PC supplies, whereas before I've always used Dopefer, I think they're called 100s. They come out of the 100 system, and they really are good. I do like them. Let's see where this is going. Oh, I have to wait for that one. want to do that. Just think of these as over tightened knurlies. Anyone checked out the what's it called? It's a freak, and it's just come out and it's £600. Is it a micro freak? Is it a different freak? Someone will tell me. All over YouTube. 6 voice poly. I don't know what the delay's like actually on these streams. Mini freak, of course it is. Thank you, Kev Human. That looks like a really good seller, to be honest. There's such a lot of buzz about the freaks when they came out, the micro ones. I think it was Nick at Sonic State's fave synth, the Desert Island synth on one stage. I think with the recent, because they've started doing questions on there, with the recent questions, I think it was his, you get left with one synth on the Desert Island. I'm pretty sure that was it. So a 6 voice poly version seems to be aimed just right, I think, price wise and functionality wise. Not having seen it properly, but obviously everyone's reviewing it at the moment. It seems really a really nice piece of kit. Piston Honda. Wavetable synth with 3 mixing wavetables, 2 oscillators, and a button that turns it into kind of a unison mode, which is when it starts sounding really fat. Couldn't get on with it to start with, and then I found the unison button, and suddenly it all came together. Ben Jordan was involved in the design and development. Oh, cool. I mean, I think it looks amazing. Looks like a sort of Action Man thing. Like one of those big old walkie-talkies or something, but really nice. Really nice. Okay, maybe he did. Can't see much about it. We shall see. We shall see. All right. Let's get this. Loqualic iteratus percido. None more ridiculously named modules. That really is a ridiculous one. Almost embarrassed to own it. Sounds great, but... Oh yes, have you tried the Loqualic iteratus percido by any chance? Oh, bottom end on my Loqualic iteratus percido is incredible. Oh, Kev Human saying prefer potentially 2 micro freaks. Why would that be? I mean, just as a top line thing that you think would be more just a second, more what's the word, creative in some way. Oh, I'm sure you're right. I mean, it does. Honestly, I think it looks brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I don't think anyone is in the chat or watching that hasn't subscribed, but if you are, and you fancy some more chilled streams of the afternoon, please do give us a sub. It might even fire off like a bye-bye. No one got a mic to test out this this multi-stream? I might test it with Inky later, then, if that's the case, because this does seem to be working pretty well. This music is alright as well. Okay. I think with a decent mic and some good quality audio, we could be onto something. Okay, let's put these over here. Oh, no CV on the mini free. Okay. Ramble FM polyphony is 64 instead of 128 on the plus wheels. Feels slightly better now, more RAM on the plus 2. This is the Frap QSC that's going in. Whoops. Sorry about the camera quality. This is literally just a Logitech webcam. I'll set it up properly for the next one, because I think as a thing this works as an afternoon chilling out, chatting about stuff. I'm kind of into this, so I will set it up properly with real cameras and audio for next time. But yeah, this is the 4 stereo channel version. So you've got 4 volume controls, pan, send 1, send 2, and input level. And then if you're using it kind of on its own, you've got the sends, you've got the output, you've got the inputs, you've got CVs coming in to control some of this stuff. I think there's mute and solo here, and the sends can be pre or post fade, all that kind of lovely stuff. But if you use it in conjunction with a gate module and or the output module, then they are wired with these on the back, so that they all kind of work behind the scenes, and things like the inserts will go to the insert send on the main group out. So I think they're good looking things as well. It'd be really nice. Kevin is saying, just a personal thing, I fancied trying the Freak for a while. I think a lot of modern synths suffer from a lack of multi-timbrality. Yeah, okay, I can see that. 2 mini ones. I mean, the Mini Freak, you know, until this thing came out, it was amazing, and still is equally amazing just because this thing's come out. So, absolutely. It'll be a Matrix Freak. Kevin was saying, can you polychain micro freaks? Anyone know? We could Google. In 2020 they didn't. But maybe the hardware, sorry, maybe the firmware's been updated since then. Looks like the jury's out. I'd say no, unless it was a very recent kind of thing, which I've missed. All right, let's put this somewhere safe for a moment. Now my desk behind me is now turning into a mountain of very carefully placed modules. And I've lost my screwdriver. Might be time for that last hot cross bun though in a minute. Does feel a little bit like a funeral for a modular rig, doesn't it? Tim Grogan was saying earlier. But it will rise from the flames like a phoenix, new and improved with auxiliary sends. You might be right about the knurlers, though. I refuse to admit defeat. Well, it's a real pleasant surprise to find people around during the day. I mean, in the nicest possible way, you know, a bunch of people that are probably busy, but at least kind of have this on in the background or pop in to say hello. It's really cool. As has already been said, it's an absolutely fabulous group of chatters and supporters and synthesists involved. Plus the Sunday stream, £7,000 in a year for Great Ormond Street raised, which is incredible. Just incredible. Okay, my second loquelic iteratus, but this one is just an iteratus. Oh, and the R is rubbed off. It looks like a loquelic itemitis. Interesting. Hey, it's a teensy. Wow. At least I think it's a teensy. Looks like a teensy. That's interesting. Alright, so this is all about controllers, op amps and something there doing something other, but the whole thing is being driven. Oh, sorry, I haven't got this in front of the screen. It's a teensy, or Arduino based thing, but I'm pretty sure. Okay. Tony Lax is saying Salma's supposed to be working from home. Well, to be honest, if I'm doing this, or coding or working or whatever, I generally have YouTube on. I do it from home, and I generally have YouTube on in the background. Usually something about serial killers or synths. So I might as well stream. Corrosive Abuser, semi-retired, caring for 89-year-old mother, full-time currently. All these streams are much appreciated. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, big love to your mum, Corrosive Abuser. It's a very, very amazing thing you're doing. That's fantastic. What part of the world are you in, Corrosive Abuser? That sounds wrong, isn't it? Your name is not in line for with your caring persona. Breakfast time. All that's gone. Sorry, all that's gone. Hello to you, sir. Or madam. Breakfast over here. Couldn't be a better time for soft music and someone else re-racking their case for a change. Wow, thank you. Thank you. That's exactly the idea. Save you the knowledge. Tone Laxel, serial synth killer. Okay, they're rocking it now. Off again. Taxi of Dad number 2, says Inverted Popes. My word, is that the last, or is there? Have you got a football team? When they're that age that they're all coming out of school at different times, man, that's your entire evening gone, or afternoon anyway. Keith in Watford's done a 1 hour 20 minutes in a meeting, and we're still here. Look, I've taken some stuff out though. To be fair, we spent the first couple of hours chatting, or I just spent the first couple of hours kind of talking, but I'm nearly there. Man, I remember those times. God, those meetings. You have meetings about meetings. It's good when you have a good meeting, but you know, sometimes, I don't know what industry you're in, to be honest, but you know, you have to have a meeting about it when actually you just achieve nothing. Meetings are expensive as well. They add up everyone's wages for the amount of time they all get together and take to get there and take to get out again. There's I went for a meeting at Murdoch's, where they publish the Sun and the Times. It's in the mini Shard, so next to the Shard in just off of near London Bridge, there's a mini version of the Shard next door where they're called Associated Newspapers, are they? They have their offices, and they love meetings. They really, really love meetings in there. I didn't work for them. We were asked to come in and potentially supply them with some stuff. And let me just Rebecca, who is it? Rebecca. One second, let's get the names right. Rebecca Brooks, who was editor of the Sun, or certainly very high up, running the whole thing by then, had decided that in the meeting rooms they would put these coffee machines that worked on capsules, you know, like the Nespresso machines. It's great coffee, it's lovely, lovely thing. So they're the machines that you get a little capsule and you can choose, you know, caramel or whatever you want. Put it in, push the button, put your cup underneath. It's got like it wasn't wired up to the water. It had like a thing you fill up that did about 3 cups with water, and then it comes out with your coffee. So these things take approximately 2.5 minutes from start to finish, maybe 2 minutes to do a coffee. And she'd put them in all the meeting rooms. Now this meeting we went to have must have been 22 people, I guess. 20, I don't know why I said 22. It must be 20 odd people around this big old desk, all of whom queued up at the coffee machine at the beginning of the meeting, whenever it was, 3 o'clock meeting start. Everyone arrives, queues up for a coffee. So 20 people, 2 minutes each, 40 minutes. You know, and that was it. So I think a few gave up, but that was literally half an hour, 40 minutes of the meeting gone with people just getting a coffee in these newfangled machines that Rebecca Brooks had decided would be a really good addition to their meeting rooms. It's insane, absolutely insane. Oh, the other good one was in internet marketing, making very clever kind of banners for a while, which is why we were talking to them. But the people that sit around the meetings kind of nodding, not understanding a word or something, but they're definitely a nod, you know, whereas I would always be the one who said, I don't understand, what does that mean? And there was a meeting where another newspaper, where one of the people in the meeting was talking about a tranny for an hour-long meeting, about half an hour. He was talking about this tranny. And after what, everyone was sort of nodding and everything, and I said, I've got to stop you. I don't understand what this tranny is. And she said, it's a top right navigational element. as in it was a banner advert at the top right of a web page, but this has now become a tranny, much to the amusement of everyone in the room. So that was my meeting days. Thank goodness I don't have to do many meetings anymore. So make sure all your trannies are in the right spot. Oh, Cresthead, that chapter, absolutely. There's also Coffee House Crime. I don't know what it is about YouTube channels about true crime, but yeah, that chapter until recently had cornered the market completely, and the young upstart behind Coffee House Crime is very, very similar format. Pardon me. Whoops. No, I've knocked my camera. How did that happen? That's it. Yeah, Coffee House Crime is a good one. What's happening? Keys in a motor trade for my sins, but not in a position to usually have meetings. Okay. That's fair enough, as long as you don't have too many. Oh, I've got a wobbly. My word. A wobbly back plate, which will need tightening up. Okay, I'll do that. That's on my Just Friends. This back plate is literally nothing more than a shield, actually. But it definitely does need to be grounded properly. It's interesting, actually, because it's wobbling inside there as well. I'm not sure I'm going to get a screwdriver in there. I'm going to have to take the back plate off, tighten it up with some pliers, and then get it back on there. That's the Just Friends module from Mannequins. It's not true coffee house, it's just Coffee House Crime. Yeah, Coffee House Crime. It's very, very good. Very good. Really, really good guy running it as well. Who suddenly just exploded. It's obviously a very sought after subject. Now you can see the two power supplies, which are basically what looks like computer-oriented supplies going through two boards, apparently rejecting ripple. I'm just having a look to see what they've actually got that does that stuff. They seem to work really, really well, and as I say, they came as part of the whole. Oops, sorry, as part of the whole case. Shirts, yeah. What, Coffee House Crime? Yeah, absolutely. Just trying to think of some other YouTube channels that I'm fond of. There's a Minecraft YouTuber called IBX Toycat. We got into Minecraft only because Lula May's. Originally, I was into it, and I got Lula May into it, and then she proved to be much, much better than I did. And then everyone jumped on it, so all their friends at school were playing it. But I quite like watching these IBX Toycat streams because they're usually very much like this, very chilled out. I'm building a big house or a big mountain, or I'm excavating a canyon underground type streams, which are quite repetitive, go on for ages. But he's a young guy behind the stream, and he's quite I don't know, just quite astute. I've always thought, that sounds condescending and grown up, but for his age, I'm not quite sure how old he is, but I think it's early 20s. His outlook on life and his views and takes on certain things are pretty spot on, actually. Beyond his years, shall we say. Probably turns out he's about 40. What is going on? Mr. Ballon channel is good. Mr. Ballon, okay. True crime, horror, and missing 411 type stuff. Sorry, I keep banging this. I'll get this sorted for next time. Oh, cool. Mr. Ballon channel. Let me just grab that. Oh, nice. So, Mr. Whoa! Sorry about that, if you heard that. If you didn't, we're all good. Okay, Mr. Ballon is like an American version of that chapter, it looks like. Really cool. He should never have left his cabin. Tourist snuck into restricted area. She ignored the warning siren. Yeah, it's like that chapter with clickbait titles, but I clearly not just clickbait in a bad way. They're obviously good things. Oh, cool. No, you're not way too late, BG. Ollie, at all. Let me see if I can make this work. That would be really cool. Okay. I'm just going to try and set up a new screen with a collab window. So let's do that on here. Add collab screen. A collab in Streamlabs is, in Streamlabs. Streamlabs is this software that I'm using to run this stream. So the camera plugs into it and all the rest of it. It is Streamlabs' version of OBS, which is basically what everybody uses for multiple cameras and for streaming. It's an open source project, so Streamlabs have taken it and kind of added some code and integrated it more with their Streamlabs service, so you can do things like chat from within it, directly to YouTube and Facebook, and do stuff really from the Streamlabs dashboard without having to jump between YouTube and Facebook and Twitch and all of that. But as a result of that, until today, they've not been able to call in multiple people. So I couldn't have a chat with somebody like Inky or like the Sunday live streams where I call guests in. Can't use Streamlabs for that. One of the good things about Streamlabs is it will pop up an alert over the whole screen, no matter how many people are on it, to say someone's subscribed or someone's won a prize or something like that. So, just as of the last few days, I think, Streamlabs have launched a collab cam, which should allow me to invite someone onto the screen. So let's have a look. Collab cam. Alright, let's see. I put a collab cam window on the screen. Hey Sensing, welcome back. Now, if I send an invite to BG Ollie, your video and audio to the guest, start collab cam. Done it. Get this invite URL. I'm now going to send Ollie an invite. I'll send it to you on if it's okay. I was just going to say Discord. Let me just make sure. A new version of Discord arrives, which means then you have to authorize yourself all over the place. Oh. Scan the code. Yes, I am trying to log in on another computer. You're in. Thank you. So, Mr. Bigioli. Here is your link. Okay, your link is in Discord. Apparently I should get a kind of alert to say you're ready to come in. Hi, go to who? I wonder where I would get the alert. I wonder if BGOD is still in the chat. If he thinks he was way late on the invite. Oh, good. I did try this with a couple of computers, and it didn't work. I didn't get the alert, but it was running into an unlisted stream. And I think that's right. I was also obviously in the same place. We shall see. In the meantime, 4 left. Yeah. Benson saying he hasn't used his streaming setup since Kent started his 9-hour stream on off days. Yeah, I have no intention of 9-hour night streams. I think day streams might work though. For if I'm doing, I was going to say if I'm doing something interesting. Clearly this isn't interesting, but it's fulfilling a need. It's great. It's keeping me company anyway. Okay. Oh, now we've had a bleep. A guest has joined. There he is. There he is. There he is. Look at that. Hello. You're live on in the Big Brother house. He doesn't know. Maybe I'm not sending myself. Okay, let's have a look. Collab cam. Yeah. Huge delay. Yeah, there's a huge delay. I should be sharing. Yeah. I can't actually type into my own chat, which is slightly annoying. There is a huge delay. So I can hear you, Ollie, and you are live on the stream, but no sound on. Collab cam. Hang on. Okay, you should be live now to people, but there's still this crazy delay going on. Are you listening to my live stream, or are you listening to the stream that should be coming back through?
What's interesting is you can hear me, but it's not actually broadcasting my sound out.
It should be broadcasting out now. But I think what's happening is you might be listening to my live stream rather than the stream that's coming into your feed, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, I just refreshed my window, so I was listening live.
You should be all right now. You should be hearing me direct.
You might be listening to my live stream rather than the stream that's coming into your feed.
Basically, I should be sending you audio directly to the page that you're broadcasting from, which you should be listening to, rather than the YouTube page, which I think you're listening to, because obviously that's delayed and everyone can hear you now.
Yeah, interestingly, so I'm not getting like in StreamYard, you get a live feed of everybody, so you have to yeah, I'm not getting a broadcast of all the like in StreamYard.
Okay. 1 second. The webcam and microphone source you select below will be broadcast to your guests. All right. I am sending you live audio, and I'm sending you...
Should I just leave and try again?
Yeah. And make sure you're not monitoring YouTube or anything. Just close everything apart from that link. Well, it's interesting. So we got BG Ollie, but he seems to be hearing me as if he was watching YouTube. So there's this massive delay. He's not actually hearing me live as I speak, but it's almost there. It was me that had him muted, so we know that bit's working now. Because I'm dumb sometimes. Alright, so... Alright, he's joined again. Maybe. Yeah, exactly all that is gone. It's basically... When I broadcast, you're hearing me, you're getting me with a delay of varying lengths because it takes that long for YouTube to cache it and whatever. So you're always a little bit behind, and that's what BG Ollie is hearing rather than my live streamed feed direct to him. It's almost like he's watching himself. He's broadcasting correctly because it's all good, but he's watching himself on the live YouTube feed, which is delayed rather than the direct one. But we have this wonderful chill out music, which means that everything's okay. Waiting to come in. We have the webcam, we have the microphone, we have the webcam, and here he comes. Let's see if this works. Oh, Nothing. Where's he gone? Going to drop that off the back for a second. I can't see Ollie now. I can hear him. Okay, collab cam. Go on stream. There's the invite. Webcam source. Microphone source. I'm going to send you a new link. If you can hear me, BG Ollie. Just in case.